Hokage Hatake Glory, Chapter 141-160. Text Chapter 141-Destructive Madness. Bastard, give me back Gaara. It's easier to read on mobile m.heihei168.com. Crazy woman go away. Dodging Tamari, /again, Deidara wanted to vomit blood in frustration. I used too much clay before and it was not enough. These guys are really brainless, and they chased so hard for a dead person. Kakashi-sensei. Naruto, don't be impulsive. The head of Hatake's head tilted his head and glanced at his students. There are two ways to deal with long-range attack ninjas. One is to be farther than him, and the other is to get closer. For you, it's a very difficult thing to do. Quote. Why? Naruto was very puzzled. Because you can only fight in close combat. Kakashi was also polite and pointed out the shortcomings of the students. A normal attack team must be equipped with 3 levels of attack from the far, middle and near, otherwise it will suffer. Of course, there are no absolutes. If you can have a smart head like Shikamaru, 000, maybe there will be another way. Shikamaru. Kabakaba thought about the pineapple head. Uzumaki Naruto got angry. I don't want to be like that slacker. Is Shikamaru lazy? Kakashi Byakugan turned around and thought that the kid is really lazy, but the lazy head is easy to use, which is recognized in Konoha. Naruto, a qualified ninja, must face up to his own shortcomings, not with anger to cover up the shortcomings. Quote. Okay, don't talk like you have more interests than yourself, I just want to save Gaara now. Naruto's toes sped up a little, and Hinata Anko, who followed next to him, was frowning. They were also not attacking ninjas from a long distance. There was no way to help Tamari. The pursuit in the air continued. Deidara's bird had 2 more wings and was much faster than before. Tamari had no choice but to follow behind and eat ashes. The people below are even more tired. Hills, rivers, valleys, cliffs, all of which are not ordinary people, otherwise they would have been left behind. Interesting Academy first release. We have to figure something out. Anko bit Silver Kiba and looked around. I have a way. What? You have? Kakashi nodded at the big guy's questioning gaze. Although it's not perfect, it's barely usable. Wait, Kakashi-sensei, are you as smart as Shikamaru? Kakashi is certainly not as smart as Shikamaru. Do you know long-range ninjutsu? Kakashi certainly doesn't know how to do ranged ninjutsu. Then you use chicken feathers to knock down that guy in the sky. Naruto got angry, pointed at Kakashi's nose and scolded, you don't have Shikamaru's head, and you don't have long-range ninjutsu, are you using your ass to knock him down? You want to? If I can break him down, I'll eat it. I have this. This is Yuhi's 3 Tomo Sharingan turned into a flying swim bladder, and Naruto immediately went silent. Anko looked beside him with 2 big eyes, and Hinata's little secretary Yuhi's face was full of astonishment. Kakashi-sensei, this is Mangekyo Sharingan. One of the glasses was closed and the other was wide open. The owner of Hatake, who was shooting like a gun, aimed in the air. This technique will take a certain amount of time. Find a way to inform the girl above, and don't involve her in it. We got it. With his gunshot eyes narrowed, Kakashi, who received the answer, began to charge up. Tamari, who was chasing and slashing in the air, froze for a while, and threw out 2 wind blades to widen the distance. Deidara, who found the enemy retreating, was shocked. What are they doing? What to do, Kamui? After a long time of preparation, Deidara, who was targeted by Mangekyo Sharingan, fell into a mess, and her whole body suddenly twisted into a ball. Eyeball. It's actually pupil surgery. Which technique is the most disgusting in the Hokage world? The pupil technique is the second, and no one dares to say the first. Writing wheel, Byakugan, Samsara, the 3 major pupils, which are all disgusting things. Sharingan is not only insightful, but can also use demonic illusion eye to eye, which is really a magic weapon for silver thieves. Byakugan is even more awesome. There is no dead angle to observe, but you can also see through. Ha ha hey hey. The last Rinnegan is not for nothing. His abilities are strange and can be shared, and it is the most convenient to fight. Today, Deidara is out of luck. But fortunately, Kakashi's trick is not perfect. Tamari. Holding up the peacock flying double swords and killing him, taking advantage of Deidara's kung fu being held by Kamui, the woman who was eager to save her brother went mad. Take your life, that's take your life. Get away from me. The arm that was twisted to the extreme disappeared like a black hole of a falling star. Counting the one that was lost when Gaara was attacked earlier, Deidara's arms were both broken. Tamari, who chopped off the bird's head with one sword, didn't care about that, and fell down with a gust of wind. Naruto. Shadow Clone Technique Rasengan. Rolling up the ball with his right hand and flying into the air, Uzumaki Naruto hated this bad guy. Deidara laughed, just because you want to deal with me, you can't use magic, and I'm not what you can do. Can come, can go, cannot come out. Anko and Hinata rushing behind Naruto, the Destructionist swallowed the next words decisively. That's not what he is. He went down. Mid-air, he suddenly counterattacked and turned towards the grass. Hearing Hinata's shout, Anko squeaked out 2 steel wires, and suddenly turned around in the impossibility. Only Naruto, the arrogant young man, pounced on the clay in mid-air with a whimper. Deidara is unlucky. Deidara is unlucky. Not only let him meet Sharingan today, but also Byakugan. Without Hinata, he would not have been discovered. Without Kakashi, he wouldn't have been shot down, and with a Tamari alone, he was no match. This is a great loss of conscience. This is really a loss of great conscience. Shuriken Shadow Clone Technique. Good things don't do bad things, and it's a disservice to help. Uzumaki Naruto threw the overwhelming shuriken, and Hinata Anko stopped. Uncoordinated attacks can only add to the chaos. Deidara, who was destined to die, laughed and laughed. Art has no borders, art has no distinction, eternal art is explosion. Ha ha ha, let me die here. Art is explosion. The update is late today, but it will definitely be finished, and the outbreak will start tomorrow. It's hard to write a book these days, so please comfort me, brothers and sisters. If you have any comments, please leave a message, and we need help to make progress together. Text Chapter 142_pandas are welcome everywhere. Get out of the way. With a roaring roar that spreads from the balloon-like exploding body, Deidara's art truly terrifies the individual. Interesting Academy. Hinata's milky pupils shrink to the limit. Anko's bulging pretty face turned pale. Flying in the air, Tamari's sweaty towel. Naruto, Kakashi, stared at the apocalyptic image in front of him. I'll make you code, ah me. The deafening roar from the distant sky spread to the front, and Liuman was going crazy. No, he's gone crazy. Anyone who finds out that his wife, whom he has finally married, is about to be killed by a bomb, must be like him. Deidara, I'm your grandma. All his strength, he turned into Silverwa, and the speed of his flowing mang broke through the sound barrier in an instant, but he couldn't be faster than the explosion. Kamui. Kamui, see again Kamui. Whether he wants to admit it or not, in the Hokage world, Sharingan is a pervert thing, and there are so many tricks to kill in seconds. Such a terrorist attack as Deidara's self-destruction was actually twisted into a different dimension. Otherwise, it would be completely ruined. Kakashi, I owe you a favor. Tamari in one hand, Anko in the other, and holding Hinata in his arms, he made a solemn promise, today's love will be rewarded in the future. You boy. Don't. Liamong raised his hand, humanity belongs to people, relationship belongs to relationship, don't use the tone of calling me a teacher, I'm not that close to you. Boss. Naruto's eyes widened, and Naruto took a deep breath. Liamong and the 3 Tamari daughters came to Gaara. Baidu Interesting Academy. The little panda seemed to be asleep. He's never slept so well before. Tamari lowered his head gently, sobbing softly, his pretty face lowered. Gaara lying on the ground was motionless, Yuhi's fine hair heaving slightly, and Yuhi's love words on his forehead seemed to be crying. This is a child who has lacked care since childhood, and it is also the greatest tragedy in the world. The human Jinchuiki column force wrong. No, it's not the human Jinchuriki column force that is at fault, but the person who wants to control the human Jinchuriki column force. Chiyo is here, and the real master who caused this grief is here. Who decided to seal Shukaku into Gaara's body? Who killed Gaara and Tamari's mother? It was this old lady who was limping. Maybe it was regret, maybe it was remorse. Chiyo walked very slowly, every step was like climbing a mountain. The cloudy old eyes were full of tears, and the appearance of the wind and candle was about to wither. After the death of his son and daughter-in-law in the third battle, he just ended his only grandson with his own hands. Chiyo suddenly recalled his life, as if everything was wrong. Is the world abandoned her, or she abandoned the world? Tamari. The call from behind came to my ears, and the crying girl trembled violently. Back. Tamari wiped away her tears and said nothing. Resentment, can't complain, hate, can't hate. Having lived in Sunagakure village since she was a child, she understood Chiyo's choice very well. However, understanding does not mean understanding, and understanding does not mean accepting. Looking at the soundless brother on the ground, Tamari cried, and his heart was broken. Is the mother's entrustment, or the fetters of family? From fear, to approaching, remembering the past scenes, Tamari trembled. The old lady can save him. After almost murmured, almost everyone was shocked. Liamong looked at the sky and sighed, took out a few bottles of potions and stuffed them into Chiyo's hands, and moved away without saying a word. If I could have come earlier, if I hadn't been so forgetful, maybe what happened today wouldn't have happened. But there is no if in the world, is this fate? Chiyo looked at Liamong gently, and the old eyes were filled with the ease of seeing the world. The old woman has done a lot of wrong things in her life. In the end, she not only accompanied her son and daughter-in-law, but also her grandson. In the end, she was alone and had no support. Brat, Tamari and Gaara will be entrusted to you from now on. I know that you are different from most people. In your eyes, there is no village or country, only you and the people who care about you. The old woman made a mistake, and many people are afraid of this child. In the future, I hope you can see more. Look at him. I will. Liamong nodded and Chiyo smiled. Sasori, son, daughter-in-law. The misty green brilliance overflowed from her hands, and the old woman squatted in front of Gaara with tears in her eyes, her shriveled lips slightly grinned, as if thinking of something happy. However, it was clear that Chiyo was dead. Reincarnation, the top-secret technique secretly developed by the Sunagakure Puppet Master Unit, the pinnacle of the white secret technique of the Puppet Master, the magical mystery that can separate the origin of life. This profound meaning can even give life to puppet dolls. Originally, Chiyo started this ninjutsu with all his strength, wanting to use it to inject vitality into the father and mother, so that the son and daughter-in-law can be resurrected in another form, so that they can take care of the grandson who has been without parents since childhood. But no matter how good a wish is, it cannot resist the ruthless fact. Sasori died, at her own hands. It's me who should die. Thinking of the last moment, the blow that Sun-er clearly found but did not dodge, Chiyo's tears blurred his eyes. In the distance, a large group of troops is coming. Tamari. Konkuro. Sunagakure's unexpected arrivals are all over the place. Chiyo is dead and Gaara is alive. The little panda who opened his eyes was dumbfounded and didn't respond for a long time. Welcome home. Lord Kazekage. Hooray. The sound of the mountain and tsunami resounded through the sky, and Chiyo's serenity seemed familiar. A young Sunagakure said excitedly, wiping away tears, I thought Lord Kazekage was dead. That's great. Bastard, what are you talking about? A head slammed on the nonsense companion. The young female ninja raised her hands with bright eyes. How could Lord Gaara die so easily? He is so handsome. That is, Mr. Gaara is quiet, cold, Tough, handsome, the elite of the elite. He's still cute, he's still Cage. Look at his melancholy eyes, look at his fiery Yuhi hair, I really want to hug him. There are 2 chapters left, and the cloud is working on it. Brothers and sisters, cheer up. The outbreak will start tomorrow. If you have any comments, please leave a message, or join the group. There is a number in the council room. If you have any dissatisfaction, feel free to mention it. Text Chapter-143 the person who should go is gone. On the way back to Sunagakure, Naruto with a small face stinking like a turtle lowered his head and kicked a stone every step of the way, as if he had some deep hatred with the stone. Baidu Interesting Academy. Kankuro, who happened to be next to him, turned his arm. Don't be discouraged, girls like cold and tough men, they only see elites. Am I not an elite? Naruto pouted in disapproval, and his eyes were blue and full of jealousy. Kankuro frowned twice. Why, you look down on me. Naruto didn't want to. This is not. Not what? No, Kankuro's throat moved, and he really didn't know how to speak. Seeing that Kankuro didn't speak, the resentment in Naruto's stomach was even greater. Isn't it because I look cool and talk less? What's so great? When it comes to real strength, I'm no worse than them. Gaara is Cage. I will also become Hokage in the future. Naruto glared at Kankuro, bitterly hated. Kankuro's mouth turned to South Korea at once. I don't know if you can become a Hokage, all I know is that you are still a genin. What nonsense are you talking about? In the past 3 years, Naruto's most painful thing was the Chunin exam. Whenever he mentioned this, he had a feeling of the sea. Kanjuro, who was in pain, clicked his tongue twice. Am I right? I don't know which crane tail can't pass the written test. Damn it. You try again. Naruto jumped up like a cat scratching his tail. What's the matter with me? Kanjuro wasn't afraid of him at all. If you can't make it through, no one will tell you. The tail of the crane is worthy of being the tail of the crane. Damn it, you have to say it again. Idiot crane tail, what can I say again? Face-faced man. The tail of the crane. Beautiful man. Gorgeous man. The tail of the crane. The tail of the crane. The sparks of the 2 eyes were squeaking, and the 2 guys who rolled up their arms and sleeves stared at each other. Their foreheads were pressed against their foreheads, their eyes were facing their eyes, and the surrounding ninjas were sweating on their foreheads. Kankuro Jonin doing. Who is that idiot kid? Oh my god, is this still a mysterious puppet master? My heart is broken. Mine broke too. Tamari, is that really your brother? Liamong was dumbfounded. Tamari froze too. I don't know. Sunagakure with a forehead lawsuit. Countless people greeted the entrance of the village. Heihei168.com. Look, that is Lord Gaara. Lord Gaara is back. An excited villager stood at the window and shouted from a distance. It's great that Gaara-sama is back safely. So excited. I invite everyone to dinner. Today's meal is free. Really? Ah, of course it's true, but you have to pay for the wine. The restaurant owner who shouted for free blinked. A few friends who knew him all laughed. You ghost. Ha ha ha. No need to say more. No matter how many wrongs Gaara had done before, he was worthy of Cage's name that day. Looking at the welcoming scene of the tsunami in front of him and the excited Sunagakure villagers, Liamong suddenly understood their insistence. Perhaps it is with the support of such people that the shadow is born. Tamari, your brother is so popular. Of course, he is the 5th generation Cage. Tamari raised his head excitedly and looked forward with pride. Gaara entered the village, and in an instant, Sunagakure became a sea of joy. The men drank the wine excitedly, and the 2 brothers walked away to the bottle. The women chatted happily. You said a word, she said a word. Just when everyone was happy, Ebizo took Chiyo's body and walked silently to the depths of Sunagakure. The old books have been put into the high cabinet, the dragon has entered the deep sea. Old lady, you are naughty again. Sister, are you dead? Quote. Sister, are you really dead? Quote quote. 2 lines of turbid tears slid across the long eyebrows, and Ebizo's figure was full of loneliness. Aren't you going to have a look? No, Tamari shook his head, let Grandpa accompany Grandma well. With Chio's death, Gaara's return, Sunagakure village welcomes a new day with joy and sadness. Early in the morning, there was a wolf howl that didn't sound like a human voice outside the village. Lee, let our youth continue to burn, rush in with the fastest speed. Yes, Mr. Guy. After rushing for several days in a row, the appearance of Might Guy and Lee Rock is always so shocking. Watermelon head, tights, big board kiba, thick eyebrows. Looking at the ostriches in these 2 deserts, Tenten and Neji have all become dumb cranes. Stop, what are you doing? Ah, don't get excited, I am the blue beast of Konoha, the might of the fire country, the idol in the eyes of women, and the hero Might Guy in the eyes of children. Little Lee, the teacher is very good. Neji, I want to throw up. Tenten, I think too. Who is that guy? The sentry at the gate of Sunagakure village tilted his head and started silly with his companions. Sun was shining, and Might Guy, who had been posing for a long time, covered his forehead. O sea, full of water, O steed, with 4 legs, how could you not know me? You don't know a ninja as famous as me, it's so sad, it hurts the conscience of the boss. Mr. Guy. Guy. Ah, Kakashi, what's wrong with you? Let the crabs boil. Seeing the friends from the village, Might Guy stopped crying. The owner of the Hatake family suddenly realized that it was a mistake for him to come out today. You really don't want to rest for 2 days. After some greetings, Kankuro handed over the backpack, which contained the thank you gifts from Sunagakure village and Liamong. Kakashi shook his head apologetically, there are still things in the village, so we won't stay anymore. Then, be careful on the road. Seeing that no one was allowed to stay, Kanjiro stretched out his hand as a farewell. Standing not far away, Might Guy raised his legs and shouted impatiently, Kakashi, what are you dawdling at, come up quickly. You're welcome between the 2 of us, can't you walk, I'll carry you. He pulled his arm and threw it behind his back, Might Guy proudly revealed the big kiba. There was a crisp sound, and everyone who could vomit vomited. Naruto, Sakura, Neji, Tenten. Looking at the 2 men up and down, Kankuro finally understood why Liamong was pulling Tamari away. Where there is that man, don't even think about having breakfast. How disgusting are these 2 big men? Is one uncle carrying another uncle? Might Guy doesn't care what others think. With Kakashi on his back and a big school bag hanging on his chest, he said, let's go to youth, Lee, don't forget your youth. Mr. Guy, is this also a method of practice? Lee Rock's eyes lit up and stared at his teacher, and suddenly ran to Neji and bent down. The eldest young master from the Hyuga branch turned green all over. Come up quickly, Lee Rock urged. This is also a way of practice, and I'll let you back me after a while. I don't do stupid things like that. Neji bit Kiba, veins throbbing all over his forehead. Little Lee saw Neji quit, and turned his gaze to another companion, Tenten. Get out of here. How can you do this? The challenge of youth is not allowed to be rejected. Youth, let your youth go to hell. Tenten finally couldn't help but burst out from the exhaustion accumulated from traveling for days, together with the depression in the early morning. Shuangshenglong. Let all those hellish youths die for me. Meteor hammer. Handy shovel. Shuriken. Lancet. Looking at the rain of hidden weapons thrown down from the sky, little Lee and Neji wiped their bodies and ran. Sunagakure, who was guarding the gate, was stunned. Konoha's girls are so violent. It is better to meet than to be famous, and to be famous is better to meet. I used to hear that girls in the land of fire are gentle, but now it seems that they should marry a woman from Sunagakure village. Well, the woman outside is a tiger. Who among you said is a tiger? Tenten suddenly turned his head. We didn't say you. The 2 Sunagakure quickly retorted. Really? Tenten didn't believe it, and smiled dangerously. The two Sunagakure almost knocked their heads off. Of course it's real, it's more real than real gold, 99,000 pure gold. Thousands of you jerk. Shuangshenglong. Don't. Help. Wife, come out and see God. The incomparably tragic air raid was staged under the scorching sun, and rich women could not be hurt. Ten's little rich woman turned to leave. Sunagakure, who was looking at the door, was all scared to pee, her calf was clenching and shivering. I won't guard the gate if I kill me in the future. This is not a job done by humans. You're right, I'll resign when I look back. I quit too. Anger forced the two Sunagakures to retire, and the little Tenten humming went to the desert, and Liamong also went to the desert. There are really fish in this place. In the open-air saltwater lake, the four outer circles are nearly 10 meters of white, not all sand but all salt. Tamari's pretty face was stained with yuhi, Enko kept pouting, and Hinata's little secretary smiled shyly. It doesn't look like a fish-like man, scratching his head, getting out a big fishing rod, and humbly asking his own woman for advice, how to catch the fish here, and what do they eat? Eat bugs. Insects. Well, nodding affirmatively, Tamari pointed not far away. There is one more chapter, let's try to hurry up in the cloud, let's work hard together. Text chapter 144_fishing is still cheap. These are, Liamong's disgusting shriveled mouth, looking at those white bugs and wanting to vomit. Baidu Interesting Academy. Tamari chuckled, they are called sandworms. Although there is a word for salt in their name, they do not contain salt in their bodies. They are the top condiments. No, they're so disgusting. Enko opened his mouth in surprise, his gray-brown pupils full of suspicion. Tamari nodded affirmatively. Saltworms live on sand salt, somewhat like earthworms on land. But they don't eat sand salt, but the impurities in the sand salt. The sandworm can secrete a layer of purification on the surface of the body. It absorbs the impurities in the sand salt, and then eats it bit by bit. The purified sand salt can be sold for a high price, so the sand salt insect is very popular in the country of wind, and it is also the mandarin fish in the salt lake. Food, quote. That's the kind you gave the brat last time. Enko's eyes widened, and he tugged at Hinata quietly. The little secretary's face, Yuhi, turned his head and lowered his head immediately. What bullshit salt lake mandarin fish, that thing is what he is aiming at, and it is still the kind that can't be prevented. What is the result of contraception? If it is unsuccessful, it becomes an adult. But fortunately, although I won the grand prize last time, I didn't win the first prize, or else the child is now 3 years old. Hearing the name of this fish again, Lu Meng clenched the kiba pass tightly, and lifted the fishing rod. The fishing rod was given by Konkuro before his arrival. Following the usual style of the puppet master, it was dark and not very good looking. It is said to be made from the thorns of the sand coconut tree. Unlike the coconut trees on the seashore, the coconut trees in the desert do not produce coconut palms, and the leaves are also very small and narrow. Extremely high sex, many puppet masters like to use them to create mechanisms. Using this thorn to make fishing rods is completely overkill. But who cares? My sister and brother-in-law are going to fish for mandarin fish in the salt lake. Of course, Kanjiro, the brother-in-law, has to provide convenience. The same good fishing gear is more effective than anything else. Bending down to hold back my nausea, I picked up a sand and salt worm. The white flowered worms were as transparent as silkworm babies. If they weren't piled up in the curved autumn, they would still look beautiful if they were just taken out. I'm sorry, baby. He grabbed the fishhook with his fingers, and rolled his sleeves left and right to throw the fishing line out, and fell into the water. The hook sinks, the swim bladder floats up, and the swim bladder made of Wangyang wood is very eye-catching, showing a warm golden color under the sun. Ladies, how about we catch more fish than anyone else? What's the point of winning? Enko's eyes lit up and he threw his fishing rod out. Liamong smiled very thiefly. The winner can make a request to the loser that can be fulfilled. What bad idea is the brat up to? Aha, Miss Anko, how could I have a bad idea? Mitarashi Anko pinched his waist vigilantly, always feeling that this guy was not at ease. Hinata opened his mouth to say something, but he was too embarrassed to speak. Liamong hurriedly pulled her into his arms. Teams of two, the winner asks the loser. Sister Tamari, what the hell did you think that brat did? Anko blinked and called back to his good sister, let's not be fooled. Then don't promise him. Tamari pursed his lips and smiled. Liamong quit at that time. Hey, how can you do this? How are we? Anko puffed out her cheeks like Xiaolongbao, standing there proudly pinching her waist. She always likes to do this, it's very childish and very annoying. Hinata helped me get the fishing rod, and I'll clean her up. He shoved the fishing rod in his hand to the little secretary, and Liamong got up and rushed towards Anko. Don't run if you have one. Tamari, come and help. Seeing the smirk in Liamong's eyes, Anko had no reason not to run. Seeing the prey running away, Liamong chased it even more happily. Looking at the two people who were enjoying themselves by the salt lake, Tamari shook his head and walked to Hinata's side to sit down, and the two stared at the fish float together. Are you still running? After a not-so-fierce chase, Liamong pressed Anko to his thigh, his butt was raised high, and he slapped him on top of it. Liamong likes to play this tune with Anko the most, and each time has a unique feeling. Anko's face is Yuhi's, and the two cheeks are bulging, similar to the frog in the pool, and he wants to bite when he opens his mouth. Liamong slapped again. Don't move your mouth. Stinky boy, you hate it. What's wrong with me? You're nasty everywhere. Then I'll show you another nasty one. Slap, 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 another slap. Liumin raised his right hand, left and right. Anko's arm was very elastic. He hit and jumped twice, not only felt solid, but also looked very proud. A few moments, Anko was beaten to tears, his eyes were watery, and it didn't look like tears. Stinky boy, have you had enough trouble? No. Liamong bit Kiba and seemed to be ruthless. The strength under his hand was not heavy at all. Anko's face was about to drip blood, and his butt was pressed in his hand with a slight tingling, softly and again, and the unstoppable nasal sound kept jumping out. Seeing that Liamong looked around, he slid his hand in quietly. Anko's body froze immediately. Stinky boy. You're all wet. Bastard, you still said. No matter how carefree Anko is, he can't stand such a flirtation. Looking at the fingers that Liamong stretched out in front of his eyes, he almost fell into the ground ashamed. But Anko is Anko in the end, and as soon as he made a ruthless attack, there was a counterattack. As the two were tearing apart, a shout came from Tamari. Husband-kun, the fish is hooked, come and help. Not yet. Anko pushed hard. Liamong looked at the beautiful woman under him who had finally been subdued, then turned to look at Tamari who was shouting in the distance, and reluctantly took a handful in front of his chest and stood up. The mandarin fish in the salt lake is not big, and the longest is less than 1 meter long. But this thing is very fierce, and it is very powerful. When Liamong ran to the lake, Tamari was struggling to grab a fishing rod, and the sand was full of footprints. Take a net to catch it. Fishing with a net is nothing. When the woman became stubborn, the 9 cows couldn't pull it back, and Liamong was speechless when he heard this. Didn't you call me here? Perhaps feeling that what he said was not quite right, Tamari immediately changed to a gentle look. Good husband-kun, come and help. Okay, I'll help you pull it. Help, the more you help, the more busy you are. Liamong, who hugs his waist from behind, isn't helping to pull the fish, it's just taking advantage of it. Tamari's waist is very good, especially a pair of long legs, which are very eye-catching in the sun. Perhaps because of his origin in the country of wind, he always has a bold spirit on his body. When it is cheeked by Liamong, the whole person is more and more cute. Sister Hinata, Sister Anko, come and help. Lu Meng couldn't count on it, and Tamari hit the two sisters again. The little secretary looked up and shyly pointed his fingertips. Anko wanted to help, but he had just started playing, and his legs were still soft. Addicted to being cheap. The upper and lower hands together to enjoy the blessings. Liamong is most grateful for that fish now. Look, it's gone to the left. Look, it's gone to the right again. His hands reached behind him to his chest. Liamong was smeared with cheapness while pulling the fishing rod. The fish didn't come up for a long time, and Tamari softened first. Good husband Kun, don't make trouble, okay? Okay, if you say we won't make trouble, we won't make trouble. The mandarin fish that slipped into a dead dog raised it and threw it towards the salt stand. This guy was about half a meter long, and it was hard to imagine how powerful it was just now. Well, this fish is so ugly. Hinata looked at the fish, her little face twitching. A closer look, right. The whole body of the mandarin fish in the salt lake is khaki, and it is not pretty at all. It has a little bit of Madara on its body, 2 blue eyes, and a tip of kiba, which is as sharp as a small blade. Is this what we both ate last time? Well, it looks a little ugly, but it tastes really good. I'll make up for it. The accent was heavily accentuated on the compliments, and Tamari, who was at a loss, came back. Liamong got angry when he heard this. You wait for me tonight. Giggle, little man, elder sister is waiting for you. His chin raised, Tamari bent over to pick up the fish. Eating fish is not the key is what to do after eating the fish. The carefully processed salt lake mandarin fish is peeled and thorns are cut into small pieces. The fish fillets are cut according to the texture, each piece is no more than 3 centimeters thick. It is slightly scalded with hot water and placed in a bowl, which is indescribably delicious. This ugly fish is so delicious. Liamong blinked back and forth while drinking the fish soup. Anko gulps down the soup. Hinata soup sips. Tamari drinks soup and sips slowly. Every woman has a style of every woman. To marry such 3 wives home, how many wooden fishes would have to be broken in a previous life? When a monk hits the clock one day, the young man must have been on the same level as the old bald donkey in Fahai, at least having been a monk for 800 years, how could I have such good luck? Hu-kun. Tamari picked up a tissue and wiped his mouth. There has always been a legend in our Sunagakure village that in this vast sea of sand, there is an ancient ruin buried, and whoever can get it will gain endless wealth and power. Why tell me this? Liamong turned his head as if he had heard nothing, and showed no signs of moving at all. Most of the legends like this are bullshit, and there is endless wealth and power. If there are such things, they would have been dug up long ago, and they can wait until today. I'm telling the truth. Good night brothers and sisters, outbreak tomorrow. Text chapter 145 _ The Kingdom of the Wind, the Kingdom of Crystals. Tamari's serious appearance attracted the curiosity of Liamong Ankoaneda, who put down the dishes and wanted to hear her story about the ruins. Tamari folded her golden hair, and her big black and white eyes seemed to travel through history. It is said that a long, long time ago, the land of wind was as rich as the land of fire. There are continuous mountains and endless green trees. There are meandering rivers. Back then, there was no land of fire and no ninjas. On the land of now, there is an incomparably powerful empire. They have the ability to ripen food overnight and create all kinds of peculiarities. The abilities of objects, each of which can drive the world crazy. Quote. Is this kind of a leave? Liamong didn't believe it at all. He cooked the food overnight and made some international jokes. Those who have this ability are immortals, not human beings. Tamari shrugged. It's all said to be a legend, who knows if it's true or not. Since that empire is so powerful, where is it now? Anko was puzzled by this. If a country didn't have to worry about food, what else would it worry about? War. Tamari's answer was startling. Too rich life made the people of the empire lose their pursuit, and then I don't know what caused the civil war. Not only did the empire go to ruin, but also the country of the wind. The country has become a desert, and legend has it that this was the main battlefield back then. Quote. No way. The land area of the Land of Wind is the largest of the 5 major countries. If that was the case, how far would the war be in that year? Tamari's eyes also showed sad nostalgia. Who knows, the mistakes made by our ancestors will be borne by us later. If there was no war, the country of the wind would not be what it is today. Is there really such a powerful country? Hinata tilted her small head, her milky white pupils flashing curiosity. Liamong looked left at this, right at that, picked up the fish soup on the table and drank it. Hey, what? Stinky boy, don't touch. Brother. Anko, who was struggling with one hand, and Hinata, who nods shyly with the other. Tamari winked at the livid. The beautiful Princess Sunagakure turned up Byakugan charmingly and slowly tore off her clothes. It was a pair of incomparably beautiful, straight, slender, with slightly bent knees set aside, and the peeping valley loomed. See, there is. The squeaking windmill continued to rotate with the convoy, and the wheels of the grunt moved forward slowly with the roar of the rhino. This is a huge convoy, not only the armored rhinos that can pull heavy objects, but also the sandy ostriches that are good at running. The composition of the convoy is very complicated, including adults, children, women, elderly, and everyone laughing at each other happily. In the center of the convoy, an old man stood at the top of the bright yellow-painted car, with gray hair, a big yuhi nose, and sad old eyes with nostalgia. We are back in this homeland again. Creak. Narugui, do you recognize it too? The ferret yuhi, lying on his shoulders, has white eyes and black claws, 2 round eyes that shine like jewels, and black fur on the top of his head and tail, like a warrior with a steel helmet. The land of wind, the land of sand. President, where are we going next? Let's go to the beach, let's see our homeland. The old man spread out the map in his palm and took a deep breath. The appearance here is completely different from the description passed down from generation to generation. Back then, the war was so tragic that the Chinese people were scattered, and some even traveled across the ocean. To be able to come back here again, they don't know how much they have suffered. A chamber of commerce without roots is always a rootless duckweed, and I don't know if I can find a settled home this time. Gara, I'm not talking about you. You're sick, you don't need Tenten to be so busy. How about going to the beach with us? There are more documents here. Go to hell with those documents. Don't you have a round table meeting? Liamong leaned against the table. Anyway, those old guys are just for you to see. Why don't you take a break with us? Let's go, it's sick now. He dragged the little panda up, but Liamong didn't want his brother-in-law to be buried in the pile of documents. Gara couldn't resist, and only got up and walked out of the office. The 3 women who had been prepared for a long time were dressed in cool clothes, with high heels, small hot pants, and a slim short shirt with a waist. Hinata, who had never worn it like this before, lowered her little head to her chest, and twisted her fingers with her 2 little hands. Anko kept laughing as she watched. What are you shy? Beautiful is to be seen by wearing it. You didn't see that stinky boy's eyes, are they all straight? Sister Yuhi Anko. You. With a slight nod of his forehead and his pink neck, Mitarashi Anko led the team towards the airship. With modern means of transportation, it is much more convenient than road buses. Come on, Captain, let's go to the beach. The coastline of the Land of Winds is covered with white sand, and the sea is like waves. Perhaps because of the lack of soil, the waves are extraordinarily clear, like a crystal coast, as transparent as glass, and the rushing tide is like a dream. Lu Meng and the others landed outside a stronghold. There were not many people in the stronghold, but it was just a decoration. There were less than 20 people in total. When Gara stepped off the airship, one of them was extremely excited. It's Kazekage-sama. Hello, Kazekage-sama. With their right fist clenched and raised flat in front of them, the garrison troops raised their heads and put their feet on their backs. The experienced red pandas greeted them skillfully and had a delicious meal after being polite. Ladies and gentlemen, there is nothing to eat here, but these crabs and fresh shrimps are still eye-catching. Is there anything else? Liamong asked casually, knowing that Hinata didn't like these two foods. Garrison troops were a little embarrassed, and then they remembered something with a smile and said, "If you don't like seafood, there are some coconut palms here. Not only are the juice and leaves sweet, but the pulp is also very delicious. Thank you so much." With the cheap and unscrupulous bastards, and the reputation of Gaara, Liamong has taken advantage of the sky. If he did it himself, the guard would not give him a good face. Everyone was chatting. A guard hurriedly entered. "Lord Cascage, there is a caravan parked outside, look." Today's first update, with the capable support of brothers and sisters, there will be unexpected surprises, look forward. Text room 146_ once mighty empire. Caravan, how come a caravan here? Interesting Academy first release. Not only did Gaara make Gaara a stupor, but the Liamong people were also stupid. Before coming here, Tamari said that this crystal coast is located on the southwest border of the Land of Winds, opposite the far-flung Yida Road, and there has been no communication for hundreds of years. The reason why the guards were stationed was just a decoration. There will also be people coming, not counting people, it's still a caravan. What are they here to sell? Liamong turned his head to look at Gaara, and the little panda's eyes were also confused. Let's go out and see. If you don't understand what you don't understand, you just don't want it, and Liamong takes the lead and goes out. When they came out, the caravan was surrounded by guards. Looking at it with the probe, the old and the young are young, and it is really not dangerous. In this day and age, who would bring the elderly and children together in wars? Hello foreign travelers, please forgive my rudeness, I don't know who you are here for. Ha ha ha, the leader is polite, we are just a group of helpless traveling merchants, who came here to pay homage to the relics of our ancestors. You are. Gaara's pupils narrowed, staring at the old man who was talking to him. Feeling the danger, the ferret squeaked and bent down, and a big tail stood up. 000. The old man quickly appeased it twice. Nail gooey, don't do this. I'm sorry elder, I'm rude. It's nothing, I blame the old man for not explaining it clearly. The old man stroked two beards, and the corners of his eyes were full of vicissitudes. We are the remnants of the Galen Empire. We just returned from the western continent some time ago and wanted to see the ruins of our ancestors. That's why we came here. I'm sorry for any inconvenience here. Galen Empire, remnant, does this name exist on the continent? Unfamiliar words entered his ears. Gaara turned his head dazedly. Tamari's face changed. Are you from that empire? The little girl seems to know a few things, so it's much more convenient. A friendly beginning means half the battle. After inviting people in and sitting down, the big guys got together for a meal. After communicating with each other and understanding each other's identities, the old man issued a mission in the name of a caravan, trying to find the ruins of his old homeland. This task, Tamari could only smile bitterly. I'm sorry old man, although I don't want to say that, but I'm going to let you down. Our Sunagakure village has been in the Land of Winds for 100 years, and we haven't seen the places you mentioned. The yellowish map on the table was spread out, and the image on it was completely different from the present. It's been too long. Trying to find traces of the past with this old and scumbag map is not much better than finding a needle in a haystack. The old man sighed and shook his head desolately. The old man is too delusional. After all, time has passed. Enemy attack. The sudden scream hula stood up, and there was no need for a second sound, and everyone rushed out. Mobile reading is more convenient. m.heihei168.com. What are those things? The silver-colored assault boat, with its earth-brown full-body armor, slammed into the face of the enemy that appeared from the depths of the Crystal Coast, and gave it a dismount. The huge mace was raised high above the top, and it was a deep pit wherever it hit. The shuriken cross darts thrown by the guards were useless at all. If you stick it on your body, it doesn't hurt, and it doesn't itch. What should people do? Conversely, if you get hit by the mace with a car full of, you will die on the spot. Where is this enemy from? A few guards saw that the situation was not good, so they hung the detonating talisman on the end of the kunai and shot it out. A surprising thing happened. The enemy hit by the detonation talisman died, and no blood came out, and the blown body was as soft as a pile of mud. These guys are not human. The aura of panic spread quietly, and the guards guarding the coast held on to kunai in horror, neither going up nor going up. At a critical juncture, the red panda took action, and the yellow sand that rose from the ground covered it in all directions. Sandfall's funeral. Bang Long Long pressed down with both hands and nothing, and the big guy who had dealt with the emergency was silent. Liamong walked over to the dead body and squatted down, not knowing what it was. There are monster moths, and there are really monster moths. Where did these things come from? Doubtful eyes turned to the uninvited caravan. The old man stood there embarrassed, not knowing what to say. Would you like to ask for support? Tamari walked to his side and turned to Gara. Communicate with the village, these guys are not easy. The sudden attack couldn't have ended in such a normal way. It was too abrupt, and people couldn't figure out the pulse. Where did these monsters come from? Looking up at the roaring sea, the big guy had doubts in his heart. What? Gara was attacked again. The matter had not ended some time ago, and a new situation appeared. Seeing Konkuro's anger, the reporting ninja swallowed. It doesn't have to be for Gara-sama, maybe. Reinforcements immediately. Be sure to arrive before dark. I don't think it will be peaceful tonight. No matter whether he went to Gara or not, the enemy must be taken seriously when the enemy appears in the southwest of the country of wind. There is a hinterland, and there has been no trace of any enemy in the past. Damn, why is there always trouble lately? Lord Konkuro, do you want to ask the allies for help? The Chunin exam will be held soon, at this time. Communicate with Konoha, just as they're going to send someone over. The blue sky Shirakumo floats, and the early bird goes to bed. Choji, how do you think I retire? My aunt will definitely kill you. Can't you say something nice? Shikamaru glanced at his friend angrily. I never lie. Choji was chomping at the potato chips, his face drooping and extremely sincere. Shikamaru sighed deeply. Women are really troublesome things. It would be great if there were no women in the world. Bastard, what did you say? Jumped up like a cat scratching a mouse, and Ino raised his fist like he was blown away. Where did you guys come from without our women? Look at this one more. Nara Shikamaru, what do you mean? It's not interesting, you're so annoying. Sunagaku complaining all the way, Shikamaru, whose butt was not on the ground, followed him out again. The more he looked at Konkuro, the more upset he became. When I saw Liamong, this unpleasantness turned into a sea. Can we go back? I don't know. Should we try 3 times? I see it. Wow, it's Flow Man. Let's get over there. You mad woman, quickly let go, don't you know that man is trouble? Slacker, what nonsense are you talking about? Ino turned his head, grabbed his ears and walked forward. Looking at these familiar figures, Liamong smiled. I haven't seen you for a while, and your relationship has gotten so much better. Don't talk nonsense, we don't have it. Ino's face was Yuhi's, and quickly jumped away to clear the line. Liamong clicked his tongue twice. Beat is kiss, scolding is scolding, love comes and loves to kick with your feet, you both look like this, hee. I really have nothing to do with him. Ino waved his hands in a panic. Choji's face was full of smiles. Hello, boss. Ha, look at your belly so full again. Of course, my Tenten are supplementing nutrition. Choji patted his big belly vigorously, and took out another potato chip proudly. Why won't I eat you to death? Ino bit Kiba with an air of anger. Choji grinned and didn't answer. Having been with Shikamaru since he was a child, the one thing he learned the most was never to reason with a woman. Because women are never unreasonable. You come this time. The Chunin exam is coming. Ino stroked his horse's tail and typed a paper. Sunagaku is going to hold the Chunin exam. The village sent us to help, but we were dragged over as soon as we arrived. By the way, what happened here? Just talking about what happened before. The three Shikamaru looked at each other after listening, not understanding how this could happen in such a place. Hopefully it's an accident. He sighed and found a place to camp, and Liamong, who had put away his belongings, found 3 girls. Several girls were chatting with people in the business group, and they were happy to see that. What are you talking about? It was about the Gaia Empire in the past. Tamari turned around with a smile. I didn't expect that the Gaia Empire was so powerful back then, and it actually unified the continent. No way. Liamong was really surprised now. If the Gaia Empire is really that powerful, why is there no trace left now? My friend, your suspicions are not unreasonable. The woman with black hair and black pupils and a pink yuhi dome took over the words. At that time, not all the people of the empire lived on land, so there were very few traces left. Then the Gaia Empire conquered the sky and the sea. The woman was very proud. Only a few live on the ground. Boolean B raised his thumb high, and even if he killed him, he would never have imagined that the Hokage world still has such a glorious past. The woman's proud expression didn't last for a while. No matter how glorious the past is, it's just a memory. Ever since I was a child, I have listened to my father, mother, grandparents, and grandparents telling the story of the Gaia Empire, but we, the remnants of the Gaia Empire, don't even have one. No country. Sister you. Little girl, I'm fine. The woman sighed a long time and smiled softly at Hinata. We came back this time to plan to settle down, and it's time to find a home after drifting away all these years. Are you going to settle in the land of wind? Woman smiled bitterly. I don't know, we originally planned to find the ancestral ruins and live there, but now it seems that we can't find it. Is there anything in the ruins? Liamong's eyes lit up. There are many surprises, a lot of good things, brothers and sisters. After the 2nd chapter, will the 3rd chapter be far behind? Text chapter 147_ each has its own trump card, each has its own coup. This. The woman opened her eyes awkwardly, not knowing how to answer. Mobile reading is more convenient. m.heihei168.com. Liamong said with a smile, don't show such an embarrassing expression. How many of you are in total? So I'm just asking casually. The woman smiled awkwardly and didn't continue the topic. Returning home, Liamong pouted at the girls. She must be hiding something. Stinky boy, how can you ask such a question? Sister Anko, I can't say that. With their few people, even if they hide the Golden Mountain, they will give it for nothing, and if they are dug up, they will be robbed. Boss spit out a mouthful of saliva. Lu Meng despised those ignorant people. Treasures in the world, only those who are virtuous live in them. What is virtuous? Whoever has the biggest fist is called virtuous. No matter how glorious the Gaia Empire is, it is also in the past tense. It is an old antique for hundreds of years. What flowers can be found? Come on, it doesn't matter what you hide, the young master has to eat a piece of meat this time. Boss, where have you been? Hi Hinata, hi Examiner Anko. Where's Shikamaru? Liamong looked at Choji in confusion. The big fat man choked the potato chips. I went to investigate with Ino. Is this the information you asked? Are you annoying? It's me who's annoying, or you're bullshitting. Ino pouted angrily. Shikamaru said that he came out to ask for information, and asked if the children were in the pile. What could he ask? Live to hell. Turning his head with a serious look, Shikamaru didn't even bother to explain. Children are the best group of people. Although they didn't ask anything too substantive, the information they got was already very useful. At night, there are waves on the sea surface, and the rushing tides pass through each wave, and recede to the beach. The stars are dotted with shells and snails, and the colorful lights are eye-catching. The little secretary dressed in white, look at that, look at this, and look around with her bare white feet. From time to time, I leaned down to look at the moon, and the quiet little face glowed slightly under the moonlight, as if the stars were eclipsed by it. Hinata looks so pretty. He held his chin with both hands and watched from a distance, squinting smugly. Anko on the left is eating balls, and Tamari is eating oranges on the right. Being able to enjoy such moonlight in such a place is simply the greatest enjoyment in the world. If only it could be like this forever. You can stay idle. Heihei168.com, Enko pouted. Twice, why can't we be idle? It's a pity that some people don't want us to be idle. Far from the water and the sky, a few sparks fade away. It's those guys during the day. The rapidly approaching shadow broke through the coast, and the monsters in full armor charged with big hammers one by one. The big hammer is 2 meters long, with a mace like a wheel, and the wheel is a big pit. Fire flares. The flames that had been prepared for a long time shot into the air, and under the bursting brilliance, a huge iron ship was floating. The flowing eyes were wet. For many years, I haven't seen such modern equipment. The ironclad ship that looks like an ancient giant beast stands still under the moonlight. The battle at the seaside continued, one after another of the assault boats, each with a standard 5-person team, jumping up and doing it without waiting for the shore. The counterattack of Sunagakur village began, and in addition to the flares they had prepared earlier, they also prepared the kunai launchers for the war. Knowing the information on these monsters in advance, every kunai grip was wrapped with a detonating charm that ignited. From the very beginning of the war, it has been going high. These giant hammers do not harm ordinary slashing monsters. They disintegrate in pieces under the war, and die as many as they come. Tamari, who was in charge of the account before, was trembling wildly with his eyelids. How much did it cost? If Sunagakur hadn't made some fortunes in recent years, the detonator used this time would have gone bankrupt. What the war is about is money. My lord, the advance party has failed. Open the cannons and kill them. Yes. The gun doors that were lowered with squeaks slammed into the deck, and the black muzzles lined up and burst into flames. After a 10,000th of a second pause, a piercing roar resounded through the night sky. Run quickly. Holding one in one hand and running back, Lu Meng is not a fool. There is absolutely no good in this level of battle volume. Shikamaru, aren't we going out to help? Don't go. Why? I'm afraid of death. I'm afraid too. Afraid of death, you still want to go out. I'm not asking you, we're here to help after all. Choji's voice was weak, and he felt ashamed of doing things like this. Shikamaru closed his eyes and pretended not to hear. It was better to be embarrassed than to die. Those who survive are called people, and those who die are called corpses. Ino pursed his lips while listening to the lawsuit over his forehead. He wanted to teach them a lesson twice, but he was afraid of attracting cannonballs. Gaara, who swelled up his chakra, built a sandstone city wall. But sand is just sand after all, it cannot be turned into stone. And even stones can't resist the bombardment of cannons. This is an unequal battle and an unfair crush. Gaara. Lord Cascage. I'm fine. The blackness in front of him supported his body, and the corners of the red panda's mouth overflowed with blood. Prepare to fight, the enemy's attack will not be so simple. Hee, I didn't expect the country of Wind to have such a large defense force. You three go. My lord, Temkin. He's not yet ready to strike. Yes, we understand. 3 women, 3 colors, Yuhi's blue-green shirt, green-gold hair, fat, thin and thin, broke through the water far away and shot into the battlefield like sharp arrows. As the master here, Shikamaru raised his head and looked into the distance. He frowned and wiped his nose. Just as he was about to say something, there were more people beside him. Shish. What are you doing here, old man? Escape. The place Shikamaru chooses is always the safest place. There are many reefs on the southwest crystal coast of the Land of Winds. These reefs have been exposed to the wind and sun of billions of Eternals, and all that can be left are hard currency. But no matter how hard things are, there are times when they are exposed. Shikamaru chose such a depression, which is not only easy to observe, but also very safe, and can be called a natural shelter. Hiding in such a place is really powerful. Tell me how your pineapple head grows. Pressing the head and rubbing it hard, Liamong envy was broken. Shikamaru had a dark face. Hiding, he couldn't hide, he couldn't escape, he couldn't escape. Choji licked the big pancake face and kept smiling. Ino secretly suffocated there. The battle on the beach became more and more fierce. The humanoid monsters who were not afraid of death, all of them wearing full-covered helmets, with only a gap in the eyes, were suffocating their heads and stomping hard. They really did not die. The battle began. Kankuro guarded the injured Gaara, and the Sunagaku swallowed in fear. Being killed by such a monster into a crowd is a disaster. Gaara had helped before, but this time Gaara couldn't help. There are too many enemies, the artillery is too powerful, and the previous bombardment has already lost most of the combat power. At this time, they can't distract him. Where's that bastard? Looking around, he couldn't find the figure of Liamong, and Kankuro scolded his mother angrily. With 3 clicks, the women in full body armor stood on the shore. Looking up and down, they could confirm that the battle armors they were wearing were all standard. All are the same style except for the color and size. There are bay leaf-shaped shoulder pads, high-rooted boots, short skirts, and half breastplates. Who are you? Kankuro looked from left to right. The woman with the best figure and a slightly fat face laughed twice. Her voice was very deep, and she didn't look like a woman at all. Sunagaku's side suddenly had goosebumps all over the floor, and the thought that was originally born was instantly turned into a filth. I really don't know this. I was startled when I heard it. I wanted to commit a crime when I looked at it, and I wanted to step back when I heard the voice, and the contrast was too big for him. Don't talk nonsense with them, quickly solve it and go back. Then listen to you. Completely ignoring Kankuro's angry question, he nodded and rushed forward, even if the woman who did not know her name and did not report a good number was ready to go to work. But before she took 2 steps, Kunwu shot down from the sky and blasted them back. You have artillery shells, and we have phalanx. Bulwark number 3 has a swarm of kunai launchers, up to 100 per batch, forming a phalanx like a wall. The 3 women were unlucky. With their abilities, they would never be hurt by this kind of suffering. But who let Liamong lose this guy? Adhering to the immoral style of the little bastards, if there are no private goods in 100 kunai, how can he be worthy of the society? The ice thorns are indispensable, and the detonating charm is a must. Apart from these 2 to increase the direct lethality, there is also a lot of pepper noodles and mustard powder mixed in the kunwu. Although these 2 kinds of food seasonings can't hurt anyone, if you really have to take a sip, it will be a lot of fun. A small mistake on the battlefield can spell disaster, let alone a sneeze. No, the fattest one among the 3 women won the jackpot. He sucked it into his lungs in one breath, and his whole body suddenly became numb. That snow-white face turned green at a speed visible to the naked eye. Ah! After a big sneeze, the speed slowed down, and in just half a blink of an eye, another attack was thrown from the sky, and a large net volleyed down. Catch alive. Today's 3rd update, there will be surprises, hee. Text chapter 148_shocking discovery. Don't think about it. Interesting Academy debuts. Seeing that the arrest was about to be successful, an accident occurred in an instant. The chubby woman turned into a gray wolf with a roar. The chubby face was elongated and pointed and dyed black, and even her hair turned gray-purple with a mutant color. The big net fell and ripped apart, and the angry woman threw electric light into the sky, and the sharp thunderfire swept back and forth, and all the kunai collapsed into pieces. Retreat. The same transformation, different appearances, the bats flying in the sky swept the 2 companions and fled. They really came and went quickly. Why are they running? Shikamaru, who were preparing to sneak attack in the cave, looked at each other and both made up their minds. Ino, Choji, you 2 stay, the boss and I will follow. You guys be careful. Waving their hands and rushing to the sea while it was dark, the 2 guys stepped on the waves and ran towards the battleship. When they were approaching, they all got into the water and dived by swimming. He couldn't speak under the water, his mouth was full of bubbles. Liamong and Shikamaru exchanged gestures twice, and climbed up from the side and rear. The process of infiltrating was surprisingly simple. and the method of adding the steel wire did not make much noise. Looking closely at this steel behemoth, the main color is silver-white metallic color, with many brass-like pipes, and some UV colors are embellished. Where are we going in? There are more than 10 cord windows on the top, middle and bottom, except for the main entrance. It seems that there are many ways to enter the interior of the flag. But as long as you grow your head, you will understand that this is impossible. Go through the front door. Are you crazy? Hey, I'm not crazy, let's walk through the front door glass. It's easier to read on mobile phones m.heihei168.com. If only Shikamaru came alone, he would have made a plan long ago, but with Liuman, the uninsured guy, even the perfect plan will change. Resolutely don't go through the door when there is a window, and don't go through the window when you can. The two guys in the cat's foot, secretly observing the patrol guard, were speechless for a while. What exactly are these things? The drab armor, the full-covered helmet, one person and one big hammer wandered back and forth. Liamong and Shikamaru waited for a long time, and didn't find anyone who was lazy, as if he never knew the tired machine and moved according to the predetermined trajectory. Maybe I have a way. Make a noise, and we're both done. He smiled and scratched the head of the pineapple. Shikamaru was full of bad water in the blink of an eye. Where did you get this thing? The squeaking ferret Jongkiba's claws and small eyes breathed fire, and Shikamaru threw it out with a flick of his hand. There was a blast in the cabin, and the guards threw their steps away, blinking into a mess. Taking this opportunity to sneak in the dark, the two thieves who entered the cabin found a corner and sat down. You look at me, I look at you, all speechless. That thing is the lifeblood of the caravan leader. Be careful that he turns back and fights with you. Don't come to me with troublesome things. No one will know if you don't tell me. What are you catching it for? Lu Meng rolled his eyes strangely. Shikamaru twitched and lowered his head, obviously thinking of something bad. Nail guy, where have you been, nail guy? Who has seen my nail guy? Grandpa President, is Narugui gone? Hurry up and find it. Narugui is the guardian beast of our clan. The children scattered in childish voices called out the name of the ferret, and within a while, the entire caravan was boiling. What are they looking for? I heard that the guardian beast was lost. Konkuro put the puppet behind him on the ground and let out a long sigh of exhaustion. Tamari was stunned. That ferret, I remember its name. Probably, it is said that he has lived for hundreds of years, and I don't know if it is true or not. Konkuro pinched his sore shoulder, obviously not believing it. For hundreds of years, it would be hell for that little thing to live that old age. Tamari looked through Byakugan, too lazy to argue with her brother, but she didn't believe it in her heart. These are. Shikamaru, who had sneaked into the center, widened their eyes, and the eyes through the window trembled. The strange building with a height of more than 10 meters has more than 10 glass balls, and each glass ball contains a curled child. They seem to have lost consciousness. Don't talk over there. Reaching out and pointing to the opposite side, two clattering footsteps came, and the fat woman walking in front kicked open the raft door on the ground. It's really annoying, I have to take care of these wastes when I come back. Don't complain, they'll be useless when the Jiru stone is found. Really, you still can't help me. The fat woman grabbed the winch with both hands and squeaked and turned twice. As the winch turned, the water in the glass ball disappeared and entered into the bottom few balls. The most absurd thing of the year happened. The water that got into the ball got tangled up like a dough, and when the fat woman pulled the raft door again, it bounced out of the hole. Looking back, the rolled dough turned and struggled, and in the blink of an eye it became the monster that attacked the coastline earlier. Who? Suddenly turning his head to look at the string window, the two women in the room rushed out, but no one was found outside the string window. Jiru's stone. Sleeping child. And that weird way to make monsters. Shikamaru, who jumped into the water and wiped their faces, left the iron ship and waited for it to go far before sending the signal. Stinky boy, what are you asking about? Some weird information. those guys seem to be looking for some rocks. Liamong took the towel from Hinata and answered Enko's question while wiping it. Stones. They attacked the land of winds to find a stone. Tamari leaned in front of him excitedly. The answer was ridiculous. Liamong shrugged and didn't know what to say. Indeed, attacking the Kingdom of Wind, one of the 5 major kingdoms, for a stone was a foolish act, but some people just did it. Is there still room for reason in the world? Obviously, there is none. Restoring calm after the initial frenzy, Tamari's embroidered eyebrows knit together. What's the name of the stone they're looking for? The plan could never keep up with the changes. The old man and the old woman on the roof had a fight and called the police, and the fire had just ceased. Don't worry, Union said that there must be surprises. First, take a nap to recover from the noisy head, and then just wake up. Text Chapter 149 _ Face-to-Face Coercion and Temptation. Juro, yes, Juro, that's such a weird name. Hey168.com. Liamong threw the used towel aside and sighed while sitting on the chair. The people around didn't speak anymore. Jiru's stone, what is this? Back to the station by the airship bulwark, Shizune has come from Sunagakure village to treat the wounded, and almost used a third of the village of the warriors, which is a big loss. Who would have thought that the enemy would have artillery? Who would have thought that the enemy would have battleships? This is the difference in the level of civilization, and this is a unilateral massacre by Kai Guago. Not to mention causing any trauma to the enemy, not even a human figure was left behind. Liamong Shikamaru finished investigating the information. The senior officials of Sunagakure village headed by Gara were speechless. Just when the big guy wanted to break his head and couldn't understand it, another ninja rushed into the house in a panic. Lord Kazekage is not good. The coastline is in a hurry. They were attacked. Boom. With a slap on the table, not only Gara's eyes widened, but everyone in the room did the same. They are attacking the village. The voice of the messenger ninja continued, and his anger and panic could be clearly heard. Those guys are attacking the civilians. We are not enough, we can't prevent it at all. What will happen when a group of monsters who are not afraid of death and rotten into an unarmed village? It would be a massacre with little resistance. Kitchen knives, rakes, wooden sticks, these are the weapons that the villagers can use for defense. However, in the face of a group of monsters 2 meters away, holding giant mace, their resistance is no different from scratching their boots, and they are completely ineffective. Any effect. Hey168.com. Mom, I want mom. Grandpa. The cries of children, the screams of adults, the despair of the elderly, nothing can stop the destruction of the monsters. They can sweep down a house with one hammer. They can knock over a crowd with a single hammer. They can kill rebels with one hammer. Liamong Gara and the others arrived. There was no other sound in his ears except the crackling of the flames about to burn. Collapsing houses were on fire, and dead bodies were in pools of blood. The burning houses and the broken corpses were silently crying out for the atrocities of the enemy. All dead, Lord Kazekage, all dead, all dead. The captain in charge of the search kept repeating the report, his godless eyes full of killing intent. Sunagakure and damning Fu like snowflakes. The army was dispatched, and the ninjas were dispatched, but in the face of a group of attackers who shot and changed places, neither the ninjas nor the army had any effect. What on earth are they trying to do? The name of the Kingdom of Wind is very popular, but no matter how hot it is, it can't solve the enemy. Gara also had a headache, but there was nothing he could do about it. There are not many ninjas in Sunagakure village, and it is impossible to distribute them to every place. They can only be defended by the defenders. But as long as anyone with a little brains knows, the defenders have almost no effect on those monsters. The only thing they could do was get the news back before they died, and set fire to the hearts of Daimyo and Kazekage. We have to figure out what they do. Sunagakure's full-scale assistance from the Land of Winds did not interfere with the life of Liumin at all. Tamari went to help with the affairs. Shizune was busy rescuing the wounded. He took Hinata and Enko back to the Crystal Coast, and the others who were still there. The caravan took over. Tell me what the Girou's stone is. Young man, I don't understand what you're saying. The old president narrowed his eyes, and there was a smile under Tara's eyelids. Liamong leaned forward. You'll know. I don't understand what you're talking about. The old president shook his head as if he really didn't understand. Don't pretend to be stupid with me. Liamong's face became stern. You came back from the far western continent. Don't tell me that you are looking for some ancestral ruins. We have been away from home for a long time, young man. The old man was still insisting. Those who have not left their hometown will never know the pain of wandering around. We are tired and want to settle down. Ha, it's almost as if you're lying to a ghost. Liamong sat up straight and picked up a cup of tea. He was too lazy to be polite to this old guy. Let's make it clear, there is something hidden in the ruins. You are sure you can't keep it? Sunagakure village, the land of wind, will not let you go in vain. It's okay to say that things are not valuable, but if they are valuable, you will die. The old man was still smiling, as if he could hear no threat. What is it that makes you so confident? Liamong held the teacup's hand for a while. Just relying on the less than 100 odd people in your business group, you can make waves in the country of wind. I married the older sister of Sunagakure village's contemporary Hokage. She still has a certain status on this continent, with the support of the snow country behind her. Old man, Hokage. Young man, we're just a bunch of homeless duckweed. We really don't know what you're talking about. Pretend, keep pretending, you can do it hard. Liamong slammed the teacup on the table, and the tea leaves splashed everywhere. Old man, my patience is limited, don't negotiate me with you. Treat it as weak and bully, and you can get killed in minutes. Quote. Brother. Hinata, your heart is too good, some people just don't need to clean up. Liamong gently embraced the little secretary, the coldness in his eyes hurts in life. The chairman of the business group was not settled, and there were beads of sweat on Gugo Kankan's face. Old man, I'll give you another chance. Lu Meng waited for a while, then flexed his fingers and flicked the table. The muffled sound of bang bang banged on my heart. You said that you were the descendants of the Gaia Empire, and the Gaia Empire was so powerful back then. Let me think about it. Are you master some kind of invincible power? Let you these ordinary people also have the guts to fight foreign invaders. Quote. A battleship or an air fortress, or something else. Old man, you should know the battleship that invaded the land of winds now. You said what would happen to you if I told them about this guess. You and me. I'm a good person. Liamong stared at the incoherent old man, smiling like a flower. The status is very bad recently, but the cloud will continue to work hard. Everyone has the ability to support it. If you have opinions, you can come to the book review or exchange in the group. Your support, the power of the cloud. Text chapter 150 _ let's talk about it, old man. Young man, your unfounded assumptions make me extremely indignant. The old man calmly protested. He began to re-evaluate the boy opposite him. The insight hidden behind the injustice of the boy's cynicism made him tremble. Lu Meng raised his eyebrows sarcastically. The divine light in his eyes was like a knife. If you don't have this trump card, you are just a sledgehammer. If you don't have these things, what are you doing all the way back? How much risk does Dalu have to take? And if there is not enough profit motivation, you will come all the way back. We are homesick. Come on, I'm thinking about my hometown, I'm thinking about my ass. Hundreds of years have passed. If you really had that kind of mind, you wouldn't come back now. Putting it into the corner of his mouth, old man, let's not talk in secret in front of the two of us. Let's make it clear. If you don't understand, you both want to live alone. Your patience is limited. A gust of cold wind blew into the tent along the crack of the door, and the head of the business group, who swallowed several saliva, bit kiba, and several beads of sweat dripped from the top of Yuhi's big nose. I can tell you everything, but you have to promise us one condition. What conditions? Lu Meng tried his best to hide his joy. You have to ensure our personal safety. The old man touched Big Yuhi. nose, as if that was the only way to make him feel at ease. Okay. Liamong agreed without thinking, and sneered to himself, to ensure your safety, and to ensure your safety also depends on whether you have this value. The old man's eyes flashed and wandered, and he quickly bought an insurance policy. We all have to swear by the gods we believe in, and this agreement will take effect from now on. During this period, both parties must not do anything that harms the other's personal safety. If anyone breaks his promise, he will die without a corpse. No problem, Lu Meng assured casually, followed the old man to recite the contract and swore in the name of God, Jehovah. No matter what age he is aiming at, he still swears by God. Even if there are gods in the world, Xiaoyi is also the Jade Emperor on his head, doing the god-bird thing. God, who he knows. After making the promise, they looked at each other and smiled. Liamong smiled secretly cold, and the old man laughed secretly numb. After laughing, he swallowed and explained. The stone of Jiru is the foundation for the Gaia Empire to become strong, and it is also the guarantee for the empire to live on. The old man's almost fanatical Yuhi looked at it. The stone of Jiru is both a blessing and a curse. It makes the empire stronger and the people live worry-free. At the same time, it also makes people lose their pursuit and eventually go to destruction. Quote. Don't talk about those useless things, Gigi, this guy is really biting his mouth. Just say it, what's the use of this thing? Jill's stone can make crops ripen overnight. Interesting academy. Fuck him. Lu Meng held the table with both hands, almost kicking Hinata out of his arms. Old man was angry. I'm telling the truth, the power of Jiro's stone is unimaginable. It can not only ripen crops, but also prolong life. 100 years old. What did you say? Liamong opened his mouth and stared. The ferret you are looking for is 800 years old. The old nodded affirmatively, and the big Yuhi had a proud nose. Liamong put Hinata next to him, picked up the teapot and poured himself 3 glasses of water in a row. His throat was still a little blocked after drinking. How old are you this year? The old man is 130 years old. The old man of the Chamber of Commerce laughed. Liamong immediately discovered the problem. That's not right, since what kind of stone can prolong life, what do you do? The stone of Jiru is only useful to the royal family, not to the commoners. Can you show it to me? Lu Meng stared at the old man's eyes. Head of the Chamber of Commerce was a little embarrassed. The stone is gone. Grass. A dirty word was scolded, and Liamong was angry. Old man quickly explained, it is because the stone is gone that we have come back from a long way. Narugui has a feeling for the stone, and we want to find a new Jiro stone. What's the use of this stone other than what you said? Don't fool me. It can also be used to fight. The old man looked at Liamong carefully. Jiro's stone can increase its vitality while increasing its combat effectiveness. It absorbs the entire Jiru stone and can gain the power to surpass mortals. Like the guy on that boat. Lu Meng's face was very ugly. Old man shivered involuntarily. Yes, the name of that ship is Avalia, one of the 3 great warships of the Empire. But what? It should have been destroyed long ago. The old man bit Kiba and said, the 3 Imperial warships, Saranston, and Northicus were all sunk during the war, and Avaria was attacked by the time and space when it attacked the royal city. The railgun hit, logically, shouldn't have come back. Who the hell are you? Oops. Big Yuhi lowered his head with cold sweat from his nose, and the old man wished he could slap his mouth. How old are you? And something was exhaled by a doll. In fact, it's not the old man's fault for this, it's just that Liamong put too much pressure on him. I am who I am, president of the Chamber of Commerce. The old man still wanted to quibble, but a blade-like gaze made him shut up. My patience is limited, old man. The kunai, which came out of nowhere, penetrated the table. Hearing the muffled sound coming from his ears, the old man's bones went numb. I said it all, my name is Kagashi, the treasurer of the Gaia Empire. Quote. Yo drink, dare to love is still a big fish. Liamong took a good look at the old man from the top of his head to the bottom of his feet. Kagashi, who seems to be seen through, is very unnatural, and his whole body is not right. Ahem, that's what I used to be, and now I'm a bad old man. What are you going to do with me? Lu Meng's suggestion suddenly made the old man confused. Follow, what are you doing? Look, what you do these days has to pay attention to strength and power. I have strength, and I also have power. Liamong followed the temptation and tempted, you have to find the ruins by yourself, and the Kingdom of Wind and Sunagakure will definitely be mixed. Foot, maybe it has to attract other countries to spy on it, which is different from me. Quote. Shook his head with radiant brows, Little Master is not only famous all over the continent, but also has a good relationship with Sunagakure. If you are in my name, and there are 5 generations of Kazekage in the middle, there will be no problem with Sunagakure. The name of the country of wind. I have a good relationship with me, and I don't have any other thoughts. They don't move, and other countries won't join in if they want to. How about it? Quote. I have to think about this. Kagashi took out a handkerchief and wiped his forehead. Big Yuhi's silk was embroidered with 2 orchids. Hinata, who was sitting next to Liamong, hurry up and don't open her face, she still uses this kind of thing at such an old age, really. Ah, I'm sorry, I took it wrong. Yuhi, the old face, shoved the silk cloth into his arms, and Kagashi's old face Yuhi became a monkey's butt. Liamong felt that the thing was familiar, as if he had seen it somewhere. My surname is Kuchimu, you can call me Kuchigi Master. Kagashi was stunned for a moment. Master Rotten Wood, I don't know what benefits I can get from our cooperation. You still want benefits? Liamong slapped the table angrily, bang. Boom. He seemed to be playing the drums. I helped you to settle the prying eyes of other countries and hidden villages. If you don't say it's good for me, you still want to control what I want. This is not this. Kagashi waved his hands in a panic. Master Deadwood, you misunderstood. I mean, after finding the ruins. Everything is yours. I don't want it. Liamong seemed very generous at this moment, and the generous Kagashi burst into tears. He had a hunch that something bad was going to happen. The Gaia Empire is a great empire, and it must have its own civilization heritage. I won't rob you of anything else. I want you to restore your former glory, even a little bit. Don't tell me, you know nothing. Kagashi opened his mouth and really wanted to say that he knew nothing. He is an account manager, except for money figures, he knows very little about other things. Want him to restore the civilization of the Gaia Empire, doesn't it cost people's lives? No, there seems to be something that might actually be useful. Book of Guru. What Guru book? With a slap in the face, Kagashi felt that his mouth was too cheap, and a lot of his age was spent on dogs. Liamong smiled and hugged Hinata, burying his body in the fur chair. This is a thick camel velvet oak-backed chair. The armrests and backrest are wrapped with 3-finger, 3-inch thick long hair. Buried in it is not only warm but also very comfortable. The most peculiar thing is that it is not hot, and it stays at the same temperature for a long time. Kagashi looked up at Liamong, then reached out to touch his face, and poured himself a cup of hot water. How ugly an old face is. The Book of Guru is a secret book recorded by the royal family, and it should contain what you need. Things. But this book is not with me. Even if I get it, it may not be useful. Many treasures in the Gaia Empire need the power of blood to open. You haven't found a royal bloodline all these years. I found it, but I didn't find it. Kagashi told the truth angrily. If you want the ruins, you have to find Naragui first. It was the symbol of the royal family back then, and there are many. Run away, brat. Today's second update. Union is looking for feelings. I talked to the editor in charge twice, and found that writing a book is really difficult. However, Union will persevere. As a newcomer, Union has the audacity to ask for your support. If you have any good opinions, please leave a message and thank you again and again. Text Chapter 141-Crazy Thinking. The sudden shout came into my ears. Liamong didn't even think about it, picked up Hinata and rushed out of the tent. Mobile phone reading is more convenient. Hey168.com did not dare to go out the door, took out his sword and jumped outside. The old man Kagashi was not stupid, and jumped out of the car behind him. As soon as the three of them left, the rear trunk was smashed into tatters. These guys again. Siwei Shenhai Wu Yin. Kaden Fire Style, Great Fireball Jutsu. Go back, there are too many of them. My team. Kagashi's screams could not change the life of his dead comrade. Anko, who had finished the grand fireball, retreated to Liamong and stood side by side with Hinata. Liamong wiped his nose, raised his hand, grabbed the hammerhead that was knocked in the air, and smashed his wrist on the ground. Kagashi, who was lying on the back of the cargo with his head in his hands, immediately straightened his eyes. There was a continuous sound of rumbling, and the flying earth separated the left and right sides. In the smoke, a metallic sound of footsteps came from far to near. Hand over the old man in the convoy, we don't want to make innocent killings, we're going for peace. Creak. It's Narugi. The heartless big-tailed ferret jumped and ran to the old man's side, standing on the top of his forehead and waving his paw. 000. Kagazi was Sparta back then. A gust of wind blew, and Liuman could clearly see the person coming in the smoke. The silver helmet covered his face, the silver armor was on his body, and a long golden hair was thrown behind him, waving against Yuhi's cloak. Although I haven't seen the real face, just by this appearance and bearing, we can conclude that he is a handsome pot. As for why it wasn't a woman, the voice she just spoke was obviously not a bitch. I want that old man. The man pointed his sword at Kagashi, who was shrinking his head. The old man with the gray-blue rounded hat on his head was about to cry. The ferret named Nelugui was still barking, jumping and jumping, with two small Yuhi eyes shining like jewels, and two small black claws waving back and forth, for fear that others would not know who the master was. The thing Kagashi wants to do most now is to catch this little thing that eats and crawls to death. Your sister is not human. The old man has worked hard to support you for so many years, and you can't hurt me if you don't expect you to be old and die. You want this old man. Liamong glanced back at Kagashi. The visitor nodded slightly, and behind him stood a large group of 2-meter-tall Yuhi brown monsters. Liamong suddenly laughed. Just as he was about to launch an attack, the 3 warships on the sea stopped him from the impulse. Fake oil, robbery doesn't count, and they also carry weapons. These days, robbers will be tinkering with arms. Who am I talking about? Give me that old man. The man approached 2 steps forward, the dagger in his hand glowing with silver in the sunlight. Liamong smacked his lips, feeling that things were not easy, and thought about bringing Kagashi up. Do you want him? The person who came stopped, took the sword back into the scabbard, and the heartless Narugui hopped to the soles of his feet, followed the silver-colored riding boots, and jumped to the shoulders 3 and 2 times. The man stood up and covered his small mouth. The most bizarre thing happened this year. Kagashi, who was caught by Liamong, suddenly broke free and knelt to the ground, thumping. Knocked the head. His Royal Highness. The old man who gave his brother a great gift, his forehead knocked on the ground, and the old man who paid homage with all his heart, not only stunned himself, but even the people who came. His Royal Highness, President, you are not mistaken, right? How could I be wrong? Kagashi slowly raised his head, wiped his eyes and wiped away the tears. Yuhi's eyes circled. Nelgai will only be close to the royal family, this is its nature. That doesn't prove that he is a prince. He had just been killed by relatives and friends, and in a blink of an eye, he had to obey the other side, and many people in the business group quit. The voice of doubt rose from wave to wave, and Kagashi roared angrily, what do you want to do? Do you want to rebel? Don't forget our original agreement. After a few words, the crowd got stuck. The Kagashi terrier raised Yuhi's neck and ran in front of the crowd, knelt on the ground and kissed his boots. The appearance of a servant who found his master really made one's scalp numb and his forehead explode. His Royal Highness, the old minister has finally found you. The old minister has a hard life. Over the years, the old minister has been thinking of you all the time. You really make the old minister so easy to find. You let go. His Royal Highness, do you want to abandon the old minister? Kagashi hugged his thighs in horror, snot and tears. The person who came slapped his feet hard, but didn't say anything. Let go first. I won't let it go, His Royal Highness. Even if the old minister dies, he will die by your side. I said you let go first. I won't let it go. Kagashi tightened another 3 points like a dog. If you don't agree to the old minister will not let it go. I promise you, you let go first. Ah, you agreed. Kagashi licked his face in surprise, rubbing his snot and tears on his legs. The visitor stopped talking, and the hand holding the sword trembled slightly, looking like he was about to slash. A gust of wind blew and dried the clothes. Why are you calling me prince? Don't you know, you are the bloodline of the royal family of the Gaia Empire. Since Narugi has followed you, you are his Royal Highness. Kagashi said so sincerely that anyone could hear the truth. Really nonsense. How many years have passed since the Gaia Empire ended? How could the boy in front of him be a prince? The visitor stared at Kagashi silently for a long time, and suddenly asked, where is the light pulse? Light pulse? Why are you looking for light pulse? Kagashi stepped back slightly cautiously. I want to establish a new Wuchuo gang. The visitor embraced the sky with open arms. As long as there are enough Jiro stones, the world will no longer lack food, people will be happy and healthy, and the world will not another war. His Royal Highness, who told you this? Kagashi was very anxious, with horror in his old eyes. What Yudo gang? Those are all nonsense sent by people. How can you go to create the Stone of Death? Isn't it the Stone of Jiru? Why did it become the Stone of Death again? There was a trace of suspicion in his eyes, and he grabbed a kiba stick. Liamong pulled out a chair and sat down with Enko to listen to the play. Kagashi is still arguing with the prince in his mouth. The Stone of Death can only bring disaster, and no amount of food can satisfy the greed in people's hearts. A rich life does not bring peace and happiness, but endless destruction. Power does not distinguish between good and evil. The key lies in the person who uses him. I believe that Lord Hyde will make good use of it. Hyde? Which Hyde? Kagashi's expression changed wildly and he grabbed the hand of the person who came. Lord Hyde is Lord Hyde. Who else could it be? He will lead us to create a new utopia gang, a new world where there is no war, no hunger, and everyone is prosperous and healthy. Your Royal Highness, you are crazy, that Hyde is a badass. Don't speak ill of Lord Hyde, quickly take me to find the light pulse. The sharp blade that choked out of the sheath was placed on his neck, and Kagashi swallowed in horror, and his heart was cold to the soles of his feet. Liamong lightly grabbed Hinata's trembling little hand, and Enko smiled knowingly. The people who came and went away with their people, along with Kagashi and his darling Narugi. Who is Hyde? Lu Meng and the others walked away and turned to ask the survivors. The men and women who looked at each other didn't seem to know anyone. Just when Lu Meng couldn't help being disappointed, a woman standing behind spoke up. With black hair and black pupils, wearing a pink dome hat, a pair of shirts, and leather furs, this person seems to be. Hyde is one of the 3 generals of the Empire, and he was responsible for the civil war in the Empire. If the Hyde that the prince said just now is really that guy, we'll be in big trouble. Hyde has so much interest. Lu Meng didn't quite believe it. The civilizations were too far apart to compare. The woman sighed faintly. Hyde confused the 4 Jiro stones. In the Empire, apart from the elites of the royal family, no one can compare to him. His strength is beyond imagination. Looks like we're about to face a big problem. Nodded, and wanted to leave with Enko, and the woman who spoke behind rushed forward. The Stone of Jiro, also known as the Stone of Death, will bring endless disasters. I hope you will not be confused by its power, that there is a curse on things. It has destroyed the Empire, and it has destroyed our homeland, and as a remnant of the Empire, I don't want anyone to repeat the old ways of Gaia. I see. He waved his hand without taking away a cloud, Liamong thought in his heart. No matter if your sister's curse is not a curse, no matter how much she curses, she won't be able to curse me. Brother, are we really going to find that rock? It looks like. Reassured, Hinata, it's definitely not easy to create that kind of thing. Liamong's words are not deceiving at all. From the previous words, he can already conclude that the strength of the Gaia Empire must be ahead of technology. The time-space railgun he aimed at, this is the world of Hokage, not the Gundam Fortress. That kind of thing should never happen. Even if there is, so what? This kind of thing is a collection of collective wisdom and power, and it can be created by 1 or 2 people alone in 8 lifetimes. With such a guarantee, what is there to be afraid of? Liamong? Grab it, it can make the crops mature overnight, and it seems that Senju Hashirama may be able to do it. But now, a stone can do the same thing. If he doesn't get his hands to study it, does he deserve to be called Liamong? What I see is mine. Going into the airship and closing the hatch, the transfer cab stared at the screen. A small dot was moving westward. He really knows where the ruins are, so let's follow. Today's third update, the cloud is still working hard, it seems a little bit. Come on, everyone, the cloud needs everyone's support. Text Chapter 152_Magnificence under the Deep Valley. In the vast and boundless country of wind, except for the yellow sand everywhere, there are deep valleys everywhere. Interesting. Academy first published these scars on the ground, each of which is bottomless. No one knows how they came, only how they got there. If any unlucky person falls into it, 9.5 of the 10 will fall to their death, and half of the lucky ones will starve to death. However, it is under such bottomless cracks that the civilization that has disappeared for a long time can be concealed. Damn it, these things were originally hidden here. Flying high in the floating airship in the south of Cayenne, observe the battleship below through the observation glass. Today is different from the past. Looking at this thing in the daytime is much more shocking than when it is dark at night. This is a meter-long destroyer, with artillery on both sides and a tower in the middle. In the center of the towering gate-shaped tower, there is a brass ball inlaid directly above it like a sun. The surface of this ball is painted with strange patterns, as if a hat is covered by the top of the word, and it is a bit like a deformed word for mu. Is it the symbol of the Gaia Empire? Lu Meng looked back at the woman who squeezed into the airship. What capabilities does this ship have? You don't need to worry, the Avaria has been scrapped. Although it can still move, its attack power is not less than 1,000th. What's going on? Liamong's eyebrows were twisted into 8 characters, and 1,000th of the firepower turned the country of the wind upside down. If this was intact, the entire continent would not be smashed by him. Don't believe it. The woman clasped her arms and raised her fingers. If Avalia has enough energy, I don't think any country can defeat it, even the Western continent. It's just a dead light cannon. Destroy any kingdom. What do you mean by death light cannon? That's the one. The woman glanced at the ball on the screen. It is one of the most powerful weapons of war in the Gaia Empire. One shot is enough to sink an island to the bottom of the sea. Swallowed, it was extremely difficult to swallow, and he doubted whether this was the Hokage world. Fortunately, the woman's next words finally eased her worries. During the Empire's destruction war, Avaria was severely damaged, and all its equipment was destroyed. Now it is active, it should be using a backup energy source. But it is certain that its attack power is not much left. The artillery used to bombard the coastline before, it was originally used for fishing. Quote, to fight, to fish. It's no surprise that there were a lot of big fish in the sea in Gaia's time. Those forts were really used for fishing, and they didn't work in real wars. Does this thing consume a lot of money? Liamong asked nonsense, but the woman didn't answer him. Her beautiful eyelashes were puckered, and she wanted to be pulled off. Interesting academy. Anko found the abnormality of Liamong and quickly pulled the person away. The battleship on the screen is still moving forward, pushing the Golden Mountain into the deep valley like Jinchuriki column, which makes people have to admire the power of the Gaia era. Not for anything else, just because this thing went ashore. He aimed, Has anyone seen a battleship that can go ashore? Bullshit, so bullshit. Your Highness, you can't do that. Stop being wordy, take me to the light pulse. Kagashi still wanted to insist. The teenager in silver armor pushed it to a staggering, heartless ferret covered his small mouth, and squeaked and smirked. The old man is heartbroken. Lord Hyde. Let's follow. Raising his hand and pushing the one-sided round mirror, the fat man with a double chin and a fat face stepped out of the hatch, followed by 3 women, Yuhi, green and blue. Liamong sat in front of the screen and bit the Kiba sign. His pupils shrank imperceptibly. When will Tamari and the others arrive? It should take a while. Anko turned to look at his watch, puffed out his mouth and responded. Let's go down. Liamong got up and left his seat, feeling that he couldn't wait any longer. Who knows what chaos will happen underneath? Just the 3 of us. Anko glanced at Hinata in surprise, and the little secretary was also a little worried. It's okay, I'll settle it. Liamong opened his arms confidently, while a woman wrapped his arms around him. First come, first served, or the day Lily will be cold. But. It's nothing but, don't you worry about yourselves. Liamong blocked what Anko wanted to say, and he naturally had the confidence to do so. You guys take good care of the airship, we'll set it up when we leave, and be careful of that broken ship. The gust of wind whistling through the Rift Valley is the characteristic of the country of wind, the country of wind, the country of wind, and the country without wind. This ghost place is already windy, and once the speed in the Rift Valley is accelerated, the souls of ordinary people can be blown away. I hate it here. Anko covered his face with his hands as he endured the sand. Liamong saw that the pattern was wrong, so he quickly put up the chanting mask. A man and 2 women were crowded in the golden yellow shield, and the wind speed did not decrease after waiting for a long time. When will this blow? Liamong listened to the wind dejectedly, and it was raining crackling outside the shield, and it was raining made of yellow sand. Otherwise, let's hurry up and follow. Hinata's little secretary had blue veins in the corners of his eyes, and quickly discovered the problem. There is a very, very large ruin in front of them, and they have already entered. 2 in a row were very intriguing. Liamong Anko understood the seriousness of the matter, and hurried out of the shield regardless of the wind and sand. What I have to mention here is that Hinata's little secretary is always so smart, and the simple chakra release keeps the sand out of the body. Liamong glanced at him and wished he couldn't slap himself twice, and he would do it too. The window paper broke as soon as it was stabbed, and the 100 flowers mode was turned on to protect Anko, and the 3 quickly rushed inside. In the depths of the gorge where the constant wind and sand are constantly flowing, a giant ruin stands tall. Looking up from the ground, the building complex of at least more than 100 meters is dazzling. They are usually 3 meters high, and they are piled up in a random manner. There are floating ladders outside and corridors at the top. Most of these buildings are dilapidated and many have been damaged due to being hit by wind and sand for many years. But from these ruins, you can still imagine the glory of the year, especially the round stone Jinchuriki column with a height of tens of meters in the center, and I don't know how to build it. The reliefs drawn above, even today, are still ahead of the times. They are big and beautiful. Even if they are coarse enough, they still have a shocking beauty. Moreover, these reliefs are not only not rough but also very detailed. You can even find fine hairs on the arms and legs of the figure paintings. Let's go in. Liamong retracted his gaze from the mural and walked towards the most central hall. This is a magnificent building with a main entrance tens of meters high. Just the giant lion and beast statues on both sides of the entrance make people tremble in the bottom of their hearts. Fortunately, it was during the day. If I saw it at night, I wouldn't be scared to death. Especially those 2 eyes that were specially carved to look down. No matter where they looked, they seemed to be looking down at him. He aimed. These 2 things really suck. Shook his head and gave a middle finger, and Hinata Anko smiled coquettishly with his childish behavior. The little secretary smiled shyly, while Anko laughed arrogantly. The airy Liuman walked ahead, crossed the 3-leaf cascading steps, and walked to the Yuhi stone-paved gate, a straight door leading to the interior. A pair of exaggerated Egyptian pharaohs on the opposite side are holding up the power stick, and the head full of bird feathers looks up to the sky, as if looking at the thunder in the sky, and the pebble-shaped crystal pulled up by the right hand is full of glory. Is this the Guru Stone? Although it is just a statue, Liamong still attaches great importance to it, and portraits in places like this will definitely not paint meaningless things. The Gaia Empire is powerful because of the Guru Stone. Even if this thing is not, it must be a valuable object. Brother, they went down. There seems to be some mechanism inside. Accelerate. Finally, he glanced at the objects drawn on the statue. Liamong took the lead in rushing to the open dark room, and the spiral downward stairs ran for a long time without reaching the end. How long is this thing? Lord Hyde, someone is coming from behind. The woman in Yuhi-colored armor suddenly turned her head, her blonde hair flung up. The fat man with the double chin and the flesh on his face smiled. You three stay, Temuki, and lead the way with the old man. Yes, my lord. The pin-shaped march pattern slumped, and the boy standing in the left corner grabbed Kagashi's neck with his sword. The president of the business group was already desperate. Who would have thought that the prince, whom he had finally found, would be a subordinate of the enemy? You will definitely regret it. For Lord Hyde and for the New World, I have no regrets. The ancient elevator that gradually sank disappeared in a blink of an eye, and the three women who remained behind pouted. They were really stupid. They were sold by adults and paid for them. How many are coming from behind? 3. The woman in Yuhi-colored armor stretched out 3 fingers. It's exactly one for each. I can already smell the scent of blood. Dead bat, put away your disgusting appearance. The fat woman in blue turned her head angrily. Yuhi, a woman, was furious. Stinky bitch, how can you be better? Okay, are you two enough? It's business to stop people. Snort. One left and one right snorted again and again. Yuhi-lan and the 2 women looked at each other unpleasantly. The woman in green armor covered her forehead. It was also very helpless to have such 2 people. The troubled time, Liamong and his party entered their eyes. 3 girls found them, and they found 3 girls. Yo, this welcome ceremony is big enough, any cat or dog can come out. In the 4th update, the editor in charge said that to break the demons, the Cloud is working hard. I am ashamed of my normal heart, and it is really difficult to write a book. I hope that friends can give Cloud support, and continue to code, must finish coding, and make a breakthrough today. Text chapter 153 _ even if you die, you will see blood. The stinky boy from the opposite side, if you insult women casually, it will kill you. Interesting Academy is the first release. Women, are the 3 of you also considered women? Liamong opened his mouth in mock surprise, grinning to the limit as if he had heard a terrifying incident. Yuhi, green and blue, all laughed angrily. Stinky boy, I promise you will die ugly. Aha, I promise you will die healthy. Healthy women have a few days a month, and I promise you will see Yuhi when you die. Bastard, what are you talking about? Anko pinched the man behind him hard, and Hinata's shy face fell to the ground. The little secretary came a little late at the beginning of the dynasty, just arrived last month, and was scared to cry. After Anko asked and understood, he helped to deal with it. Now listening to Liamong say this, both eyes are about to come out of water. Go up and kill him. Yuhi's blue and green girls don't know about Hinata, they only know that they must kill Liamong. He is mine. Go away and let me come. Can't you see that you're still popular? Feeling Anko's bad eyes, he smiled brightly, and the 3 of them greeted him from the center and right. Ziyin Shu Ugly Yin. Kaden Fire Style, the Art of Balsam. 8 trigrams Vacuum Palm. As soon as they met, they attacked fiercely. Anko Inada made up his mind to fight quickly. The 3 women on the opposite side laughed, a flash of lightning flashed, and the fireball vacuum palm all dissipated. Looking at the woman with lightning flashes in front of her, Liamong's head suddenly became too big. As if things weren't fun. You go and deal with those 2 women. leave this kid to me. Why? The woman in Yuhi-colored armor said angrily, with murderous intent in her eyes. The green-armored man who gave the order did not speak, just watched, and won the victory in less than 2 blinks of an eye. Dry. The first woman Yuhi cursed again, looked back and forth on the faces of Anko and Hinata, and set her target on the top of the little secretary's head. This little girl is bullying at first glance, kill her and then come back to deal with that stinky boy. I want her. Reaching out and pointing at Hinata, he charged forward, and after Yuhi's selection, the blue-haired woman naturally set her sights on Anko. 3-on-3 heads up. Liamong has no such spare time. Baidu Interesting Academy. Quick fight. After shouting a sentence and charging, the figure that disappeared instantly was a slap on the chest. 36 Way to catch milk dragon claw hand. I have never met a woman before, and I rarely have the opportunity to use it, but the Liuman that I finally caught today will use a sinister trick. The woman in green didn't seem to see it, and there was a smile on the corner of her mouth. What is she laughing at? The palm of the hand slapped the chest and the electric current was wild, and the hair that stood on end flew back with a bang. Well, let you dabble with women cheaply. Anko swung his shuriken proudly, and before the wire-wrapped cross dart could hit anyone, the surroundings became black. What happened? There was no light in the 4 outer circles of the dark space, and just when he was wondering, 2 huge eyeballs hung upside down in front of him, smiling strangely. Anko found that something was wrong with his body, transparent snakes wrapped around his body, and flames ignited under his feet. Demonic illusion. 8 trigrams vacuum palm. With a sudden backhand blow, the demonic illusion space that had just appeared for a moment was shattered into tatters. Hinata's little secretary Byakugan opened his eyes violently, and the corner of the mouth of the Yuhi woman who was knocked away was bleeding. Sharingan can bounce back from demonic illusion. Everyone knows that Byakugan's advantage in demonic illusion may not be clear to many. Being able to be called the 2 giants of Konoha together with Uchiha, Hyuga can't have shortcomings in this regard. Be prepared to say that the Hyuga family is not immune to demonic illusion, but demonic illusion is invalid. Anyone who wants to use demonic illusion to control the Hyuga family has to first understand how good it is for these chakra manipulating as hungry-eyed men and women. Hyuga family who have been practicing gentle fist since childhood, specializing in controlling the flow of chakra, and learning the knowledge of meridians, demonic illusion is really a ridiculous thing. If you practice to a high level, even Uchiha's Sharingan will give it for free, otherwise he will not have that extraordinary status. Today, another 205 challenged the Hyuga family, and the Hinata little secretary would naturally let him know the stakes of the gentle fist. Gentle fist 8 trigrams 64 palms. Slowly making a gesture and pulling back and forth, I found that the bad Yuhi-clothed woman turned into a bat in the sky, and fled into the air in crisis. Losing his offensive vision, 8 trigrams died without a hitch. This is the Yuhi woman just now. Compared with her previous appearance, she looks like a ghost now, like falling into a big shithole. Not only is the whole person dark and mushy, but also moldy and degenerate, with long hair, 2 pointed kiba protruding from the corners of his lips, just like a wild mouse with only wings. Little girl, I promise not to waste every drop of blood in your body, I will draw it all out and drink it in my mouth. Vampire. In the middle of the fight, he pulled away and retreated, and Liamong looked at the mid-air solemnly. If this thing is really a vampire, it will be a lot of trouble. Why, are you afraid? The companions transformed, and the remaining 2 were not idle. The woman in blue armor became a wolf, her chubby face elongated and turned gray, with a protruding dog's mouth, and her eyes were blue and blue. The woman in green armor slanted her neck, her delicate body was bloated in an instant, her upper body was fatter than her lower body, and her arms were thicker than her legs. This is the true face of the regular army of the Gaia Empire. After absorbing the Jiru stone, people can no longer be called human beings. They are monsters, a group of monsters developed for war. Ultrasonic vibration. When the melee battle failed, they switched to long-range tactics. The bats flying in the air swayed and opened their mouths, and the invisible sound waves were unstoppable. It is also thanks to Hinata's eyes that they found something wrong early, otherwise, it would definitely be a sinister trick. The bats started, and the other two women were not idle. The mother orangutan pulled the thunderlight with both hands and blasted it all the way to the front. The woman who turned into a mad wolf simply rushed forward to Anko, looking like she was about to open her mouth to bite. Your sister, is it really easy to be bullied by being a young master? The roaring Liuman dodged the thunder and lightning attack, and ran up to the wall alternately from left to right, stomping hard and jumping into the air when he was almost exhausted. Batgirl, who was flying in midair, smiled and wanted to catch people just like that. The elder sister has the shoulders, and the elder sister can fly, do you see it? Sister can fly. Dudufei, fly, 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 fly. The overwhelming net was suddenly thrown from the right hand, and Liamong pulled the man in front of him. Grow radishes for the young master. Fei, Fei, your sister, Fei, I'll let you fly. Empty hammer. In midair, he turned his head with both hands and turned his head down, his livid heels wrapped around his head like a swallowtail. When he was about to approach the ground, his waist and eyes stood up, and he suddenly performed a big somersault. Not only did he successfully vent his falling strength, but he also doubled the strength of Batgirl. What kind of consequences will the sudden doubling of the deadly falling force bring about? The surrounding ashes will tell you that the world has an extra radish from now on. Quote. Who else? With 2 feet on the ground, he wiped his nose violently, and the sullen ruffian was exposed and aimed at the remaining 2. Both the orangutan and the wolf were laughing, and laughing was uglier than crying. Liamong turned his head, and he couldn't do it if he didn't turn. The woman who was planted on the ground climbed up little by little, and the neck that fell into the chest was also grabbed by her hands and pulled back to its original position. The crisp sound of quack quack is chilling. 2. He is not a person, people do not do this. Stinky boy, I must drain your blood, then peel off your skin, smash your bones into pieces, and finally use your skull to make a wine glass. Are you dreaming, crazy woman? Lu Meng jumped his feet angrily. Look at your flat face, you want to kill me, I'll kill you first. If you can't kill it once, you will come twice, and if you can't kill it twice, you will come 3 times. Young master still doesn't believe it, you will be immortal. Liamong rushed towards Batgirl frantically. Hinata's palms and cage glowed with silver, and Anko reached out and summoned a giant snake. Attack, crazy attack. Anko's snake, Hinata's palm. The 2 women cooperated in an unimaginable tacit understanding. The python opened the way. Hinata then, the crazy lightning crackled the snake corpses on the ground. Before the mother orangutan was happy, the exquisite figure jumped up behind. He danced his fists. Hinata didn't choose the 8 trigrams palm, which had just failed. For the sake of suddenness and attack, the little secretary chose the half-tone Taijiquan he learned from Liamong. Sparrow's tail single whip cloud hand progress and move the hammer. The 2 hands were twisted and twisted, and the 2 small hands, which were accompanied by dragons and tigers, were twisted and pressed against the fists. In the blink of an eye, the mother orangutan who was all discharged was put out, and the blood in the mouth was purple and black. Oh, whoa, vomiting wildly, like tap water that doesn't need money. Hinata made meritorious deeds. Anko was not idle either. 2 giant pythons more than 10 feet long swept past like raptors across the river. No matter how powerful the mad wolf girl was, she could only face these beasts. Dry servings. Snake-bound. The real snake-bound, Anko, who knew that this woman was not easy to deal with, gave orders to the 2 pythons and strangled the man to death. A giant python of more than 10 feet, this thing is not to mention strangling people, even an elephant can get rid of it. The woman who turned into a mad wolf was twisted into a twist by the python from the top of her head to her feet. The armor that was usually used for defense became the most deadly thing, crunching and sinking into the flesh. But that's not the worst thing is that she's almost out of breath. Snakes strangle people, the key point is nothing else. it is to squeeze all the breath out of the chest. There is no place to fight the chest, and naturally there is no way to breathe. For a while, the battle seemed to come to an end. There should be 2 more chapters, and it may be over, but Union will insist. First squat for 10 minutes, get up and continue, the breakthrough will be tonight. Text Chapter 154 The gust of wind from the platform of the gift platform sent by Anko. What the hell are these guys? The bat, which had gone out of shape, miraculously stood up again after being hit with a smash of gold and steel. Interesting academy. The deformed head looks like a watermelon, the smashed kiba teeth match the sesame seeds, and the twisted legs look like a twist. Logically speaking, a guy like this, whose 5 internal organs are displaced, breaks his heart and lungs, and hurts his spleen and stomach, should be completely damned, but she actually stood up. The forehead twisted from the front to the back of the forehead crunched and turned back to its original position. The broken limbs were still intact, and the 2 blind eyeballs also flashed again in the dim UV light. Bats, wolves, orangutans, 3 enemies who should have died in the first place, just performed a big change of life. He aimed. You are breaking the law. Liamong was annoyed. The orangutan with 2 arms and thighs buzzed. How do ignorant mortals understand the power of Gaia? We are undead warriors, and Kai is what you existences can resist. Don't worry, I will make you die beautifully. Quote. Depend on. I'll make you die ugly. Who wouldn't speak ruthlessly? Liamong's lips were always slippery. Look at your ghostly appearance. Hurry up and look in a mirror. Don't scare the ghosts into crying. It's like opening a zoo with your sister. A dog bites a dog with a mouthful of hair, but a man bites a dog with a mouthful of hair. Stinky boy, don't talk nonsense with them, find a way to control people. Anko quietly pulled the hem of his shirt behind. Do you have a solution? Liamong was surprised. Anko puffed out his cheeks with a smile. I want to give a gift. The sky is blue, the water is deep, and my feelings for you are pure. Wanshi has been very depressed recently. Wanshi has been very depressed recently. Wanshi has been very depressed recently. Since the battle 3 years ago, Orochimaru has not summoned him again. Although the 2 never dealt with each other and always fought each other when they met, it was strange that they hadn't seen each other for such a long time. Matsuri, where did my Matsuri go? Raising his head and looking at the sun in the sky, the snakes lazily coiled into a circle, lying in the dog's tail grass and basking in the sun. Snakes are naturally cold, and sunbathing is their favorite thing to do. If they don't sunbathe so many times a day, they will feel uncomfortable. When can I bring some goodies, Orochimaru, ma'am? What it is? Feeling bored and yawning, Wanshi suddenly found that there were 3 disciples and grandchildren not far away. It was not surprising that snakes appeared in this place, but the strange thing was that these 3 snakes were rolling. As if they were full. What did they go out to eat? Yuhi, who was very jealous of the snakes, looked at it. The long snake core hissed, and there was a voice in his head that kept beckoning it, rushing up, rushing up, rushing up to eat them. Yin Kile. Thousands of thunder lights rose from the ground, and the sudden eruption erupted all over the face. The snakes were sluggish for a long time, and the angry roar resounded through the plain. Sister Anko, where did you send them? Raichi Cave. First release of Interesting Academy. Clap his slender hands twice. Anko's smiling eyes narrowed together. Liamong's forehead was sweaty, and Hinata's face was confused. In Tianjiguo, thousands of miles away, Orochimaru, who was going to the toilet, turned pale, and he was in a hurry, even if he turned into a monster. Just when he couldn't pull the shit out, a puff of white smoke enveloped him inside. When you touch your hand, it's wet and sticky. Wand snakes, I'm going to kill you. Reverse the psychic technique, call the contractor to Raichi Cave, and the snakes who are rolling all over the ground will send the uncle snake who is raising his pants far away. This time it doesn't matter, what's all sticking to the crotch. Anger, shame, rage, Orochimaru went berserk. Wanshi, who was rolling frantically, not only was not angry, but instead raised his belly up, and his round belly swelled for a while here and bulged there. What have you eaten? I want Lacey. In the land of wind in the yellow sand, the whistling wind roared through the deep valley. Tamari, Shizune, Gaara, and a large group of Sunagakure stood on the edge of the cliff, and outside the huge battleship was docked. It should be here. Konkuro stuck his head out and glanced. Let's go in. The swish-swish figure rushed forward, and the Lu man who had reached the innermost wiped his nose. Things are completely beyond imagination. The depth of this underground ruins must be at least a kilometer. Temuki. Hide. Kagas. Your Royal Highness, the old minister will never let you hand over the light vein to the wicked. Secretly glanced at the dead fat man who was following behind, Kagashi's old face flashed decisively. The light pulses inside the platform ahead. The footsteps swayed back and forth along the promenade, and Hyde's smiling eyes filled with brilliance. Walking out of the secret door, a long bridge up to 10 meters wide leads to a circular platform floating in the air. Hyde was excited. Temuki, open the door of light. I want to witness the birth of the light pulse with my own eyes. Once the long-cherished wish of many years was fulfilled, the crazy fat man grinned, and the 2 rows of big kiba showed a chilling light. Temuki, who was on his knees, was stunned. This is a picture that is deeply imprinted in my heart, and it is also an unforgettable nightmare. Ruined kingdoms, shattered houses, terrifying screams, screams of terror. The children hiding in the corner of the ruins clung to their knees and wrists, listening and watching, listening to the screams of the clansmen, watching the tragic deaths of the clansmen. It was a group of wicked men in yuhi robes, grinning with swords in hand, stabbing innocent civilians again and again. Finally, the slaughter is over. The child with the cat in the corner of the ruins sat there blankly. A yuhi robe turned his head. The sword in his hand was still dripping blood, and his smile was still congealing. The child closed his eyes in despair, and the sound of footsteps getting closer was like the call of death. Just when the child thought he was going to die, his footsteps stopped abruptly. The man in the yuhi robe turned around, turned his head with his mouth open, and a hurried smile was imprinted in his heart. Lord Hyde. Temuki, we want to create a Wutuo gang without fighting, a happy and healthy new world. Really? Is there really such a world? Yes, as long as we find the Jiru's stone. Memories of the past flashed before his eyes in the blink of an eye, and the boy kneeling on the ground raised his head. Temuki, what are you waiting for? Turn on the light pulse quickly. Lord Hyde, I. A little hesitation was imprinted in his eyes, and Hyde couldn't wait to smile, grinning. You really are useless. Creak. Naru Guy. A cry of exclamation came from behind, and the frying ferret fell to the ground. Temuki was shocked. The arm that pierced his chest was so unreal. Lord Hyde. From today on, I will be king. He took out the Jiru stone that was fused in his chest, and the crystal that shone with blue light was so dazzling. Pat. The gem was broken, and so was Temuki's heart. It was you that day, was you. Ha ha ha, it's too late for you to know. He grabbed his forehead with one hand and walked to the platform, but Hyde no longer had a trace of his usual gentleness. Who is he? He is one of the 3 generals of the empire. As long as the light pulse is restarted and the power of the Jiru stone is obtained, he will become the king of Gaia. Why should the royal family be high above and why the commoners should bow their heads and obey orders? He, Hyde, shall also be king. Uzumaki of the Endless in the Bavaria, for today. The royal treasure is about to be opened. Light pulse, my light pulse. With a frantic grin, he held Temuki in the palm of his hand, and Hyde strode up to the platform. Kagashi's old face was crying and laughing, holding the dead ferret and weeping silently. Suddenly, an accident happened. Liamong, Hinata, Anko, the gangsters who came over were panting. Put that boy down and let me come. The steps of more than 1,000 meters circled back and forth, and even with the guidance of the little secretary, it took a long time. Who would have thought that underground labyrinths would be built? Hyde turned his head, with irresistible sneer in his eyes. Don't try to stop me. Tremble in front of the light pulse, mortal. Depend on. Why do you encounter such a lunatic again? Mortal, your sister, go up and beat him. The 1,000 books spit out from his mouth stabbed straight at the door. Liamong leapt into the air with a few strides, turned over and split his legs, and his heels smashed his head. The kunai thrown by Anko, and the vacuum palm shot by the little secretary, all swiped to the chest. The accident happened in an instant. Since the first 3 women can transform, why can't Hyde? Bat, big bat. Wife, come out and see God. Minato fluttering wings, hula hula swaying back and forth, gray hair, fishy yuhi eyeballs, 2 sharp dogs Kiba protruding lip corners, Hyde is big pervert. Brother, can we discuss something? You come down first. We have something to say. It's not good to use a knife or a gun. I'm serious. Small. Without saying a word, the net was thrown out, and Liamong, who launched the sneak attack, grinned, looking at Temuki who was brought back and wanted to scold his mother. Hanging high in the air, Hyde shook his head, his sarcastic eyes overflowing. Kagashi, turn on the pulse of light. Hyde, anyone who tries to get their hands on the royal treasure will be doomed. Kagashi raised his head, Big Yuhi's nose was dripping with oil, and Lu Meng was happy listening to his fart conversation. Is this a stage play? If you have something to say, hurry up and let go of your fart. Are you grinding ink? Master Deadwood, in fact, you shouldn't be involved. Smelly old man, what do you mean by that? Liamong's eyes narrowed, and he suddenly had a bad premonition. Kagashi raised the corners of his mouth while holding the ferret in his arms, and the old dry face was very strange. The empty underground platform was windy, gale. As soon as I closed my eyes last night, it was this morning. The cloud will definitely write well and continue to work hard. The drum is so loud that it is so big, so broken. Text chapter 155 _ What is loyalty? Kagashi, what have you done? Anyone who tries to get their hands on the royal treasures will have to die. Let's accompany this old man to destruction. Interesting Academy is the first release. Damn, this is not the light pulse, this is the wind tunnel. The howling wind continued to blow from around the platform, and Hyde roared angrily in the air. When the Gaia Empire was prosperous, countless experiments were done, and the wind tunnel was one of them. Hyde, you will be blown to pieces by the endless winds with this old man. Kagashi said very ruthlessly, and what he did was even more ruthless. Liamong grabbed his collar angrily. How do I get out of this hell? I can't get out. Kagashi smiled apologetically, like a dead pig who is not afraid of boiling water. Hyde fell to the ground, and he didn't dare to fly. The whistling wind around him was spinning like a blade, and the airflow was white. Liamong threw Kagashi aside, looked around at the howling wind, and threw a brick in tentatively. The energized brick will be close to the outer edge of the strong wind, and it will be rolled into bits and pieces of debris. How fierce is this thing? Bricks can't do it, neither can Kuwu. Liamong threw an iron rod as thick as a duck's egg into it, and he didn't hold on to much effort. As soon as he closed his eyes and opened his eyes, the iron rod was gone, and not even a single wave splashed. Master Deadwood doesn't need to try again. These turbulent winds are enough to blow out the soul. When the limit is reached, it will trigger a black hole in time and space, destroying all existences that exist on the platform. Kagashi sighed, and Temuki in his arms woke up faintly. As soon as the man woke up, he asked Hyde, why do you do that? Why do you want to shell civilians? Why? Because of who you are. Hyde tilted his head angrily. As an imperial warrior, he knew the horrors of this place better than anyone else. The royal family controls the Jiru Stone, and uses the Jiru Stone to start a war. Take us soldiers. As a plaything, how do you think the Gaia Empire was destroyed? It's you think there are too many people and you need to sacrifice some. What? Too many people? Don't you believe it? Hyde squeezed his eyebrows. Jill's stone is a very magical thing, it should never have appeared in the human world. After the royal master, it has the power of a god. It can make ordinary people become as powerful as I am, and crops can ripen overnight, and people can live a life without food and clothing. Quote. That's the Wuchuo gang. Temuki recalled his childhood life. At that time, he was really carefree. He didn't have to worry about food. He didn't have to worry about food and accommodation. Everything was ready-made. There was contempt in Hyde's eyes. The stone of Jiru is a crystal made of the power of light veins, but the light veins are not endless. When the royal family found that the power of light veins began to weaken, they realized the danger. It is more convenient to read on mobile phones. Heihei 168. So the war begins. Quote. The royal family doesn't need too many civilians, and they don't need too many soldiers. They think that they only need to keep a few elites, so as to avoid the consumption of the power of light. In their eyes, many civilians are parasites that waste light. Waste that should survive. That's not true. Temuki stretched out his hand in horror, as if to grab something. Kagashi closed his eyes in pain, and Hyde continued to explain, in order to eliminate the parasites that do not need to exist in the eyes, the royal family wrote and directed a big play, and the civil war broke out. Many soldiers and civilians died in the war. Later, we learned the truth by chance, and turned the artillery fire to the king's city, and the Gaia Empire was destroyed. Kagashi, as the treasurer of the royal city, why did you bring me here? Do you really want to be loyal to the royal family? Why do you stop me from becoming the new king, you damn bastard? As you said, the light pulse should not be controlled by people, and the stone of death can only bring destruction. You old lunatic, stop the wind tunnel quickly. Hyde stretched out his hand furiously, and his forewings grabbed Kagashi in front of him like claws. I order you to stop it quickly for me. It's useless, Hyde. Kagashi coughed twice. Big Yuhi's nose dripping with oil. Once the wind tunnel is opened, there is no way to stop it. You can only wait until the time and space Uzumaki opens, and everything will come to an end. Asshole. Hyde Xing Yuhi's eyes protruded high, and he wanted to strangle the dead old man in his hand, but the current situation did not allow it. The hurricane outside was stronger, and the ears were full of terrifying whistling. Brother. Hinata is fine. Liamong patted the back of the little secretary's shirt lightly and gave her a firm look. I will definitely send you out, trust me. Did you want to do that? Anko bit Kiba nervously. Is there any other way? Liamong stroked his hair with a smile. It's better to die alone than everyone else. Stinky boy. The previous rescue Gara accidentally triggered the energy of heaven and earth, and Liamong was engraved with a mark, and it was definitely over once again. But now, there are some things that men have to do. Liamong looked at the gangfang around him and took a deep breath, pumping up the energy in his body, a kind of ridiculous self-mockery. Suddenly found a caravan, and was suddenly attacked again, 3 turns and 2 turns to the ground. In the end, before the matter was figured out, he slammed into the Jedi with one head. Is there any place in the world to be reasonable? What's the difference between what he aimed at and when he went out shopping and was hit by a meteor? It was too fantasy and too unscientific. He hugged the 2 women tightly and sniffed their body fragrance, and Liamong felt warm in his heart. Brother, someone is coming outside. Hinata's surprised cheers interrupted the gathering of energy. Who would want to die if they can live? It's Tamari them. Master Gara, the wind ahead. Walking closer to see the strong wind wall, the red panda fixed his gaze dignifiedly. Let me come. Tamari pulled out the peacock flying swords, looked at the wind wall, and stabbed them in. The frigid gust of wind blew under the body of the sword, making it unsteady to grasp. The firefight between the 2 civilizations unfolded again, theology versus technology, and the magic weapon against the natural moat. A small hole half a person's height was exposed in the harsh screeching sound that made Kiba sour. As soon as the cave opened, the atmosphere inside changed drastically. Hurry up, these 2 swords can't hold up. Let's go. Holding a leap forward with one hand, Liamong immediately judged the situation. But he was faster, Hyde was faster. The birdman with 4 wings, not only rushed out by himself, but also caught the old man Kagashi and Temuki in his hands. The conflict happened too fast. With a click, the black streamer rushed into the crowd, and Sunagaker, who was on his back, collapsed in a big way. When the streamer threw Hinata Anko out, the two swords had come to the end of their lives. Brother. Stinky boy. The fists are like dragons and legs are like tigers, rushing and striding to death, and with all his strength, Liamong is covered in blood and hits the wind, and there is no intact place on the whole body. Hurry up and chase. He took out a bottle of healing medicine and poured it into his mouth. What he aimed at, if he suffered such a big loss, if he couldn't get any cheaper, the injury would not be in vain. Chase, chase to the death. Hide your ambitions will not succeed. Shut up old man, and tell me where the light pulse is. During the flight, he strangled Kagashi by the neck, and Hyde wished he could bite him to death. Kagashi sneered at his neck. No matter how threatened by Hyde, he refused to speak. The winding underground cave, one after another of black shadows flashed continuously, the tall stone Jinchuriki column, the towering porch, the statues of the old century, the Liuman who stepped on the wall stopped, and the little secretary who followed behind was light. Stroking his chest. Where did the people go? Above, Hinata pointed to the sky, and the chasing troops were speechless. Gara. Blossoming yellow sand emerged from the soles of his feet, and the red panda clasped his arms and flew into the air. Liamong Hinata Anko, Shizune Tamari Konkuro. What about Shikamaru and the others? Outside, Tamari took out silk and wiped Liamong's face, the dried blood wrinkled and uncomfortable. He took out 2 bags of clean water to wash, and a disgusting smell poured into his mouth. Pooh, master must kill them. Kagashi, Hyde, 2 bastards, none of you want to run. It was the first time that Shengping was hurt so badly, and the gangster's anger in Lu Meng's heart exploded like a lit firecracker. The pursuit continued, and the surrounding whistling grew louder. Kagashi, if you don't tell me where the light pulse is, I'll kill it. You. This is the last bloodline of the Gaia royal family. Hyde squeezed Temuki's neck with a little force, and the boy's pupils suddenly dilated a lot. Kagashi was speechless. He knew that Hyde was right. Temuki could really be the last bloodline of the Gaia royal family. How much is loyalty worth? Kagashi gave the answer. The old man who wore a big yuhi nose and did not bow his head in the face of death, bowed his head for the royal family. Okay, let me tell you, the light pulse is there. Choji hated this place with the howling mountain wind blowing sand and stones in his face. Shikamaru, when can we go back? I don't know. There must be some time. Ino gathered his hair, and if he stayed in this ghost place, his skin would wrinkle. Shikamaru, who had a weed in his mouth, glanced at the buildings under his eyes, and suddenly a jolt pressed down on his companion's head. You do. Shish. Someone came out. In the second chapter today, the cloud is still working hard, breaking through, and we must break through obstacles. Text chapter 156_brothers, go up and open the boss. What is that guy? Seeing sweat on Ino's forehead, he stared at the monster that Hyde transformed into, his throat squirming up and down. Mobile reading is more convenient. m.heihei168.com. I don't know. Shikamaru suddenly felt a little cold. It won't be a good thing anyway. Let's not see it, okay? Choji turned his face and suggested, chubby like a meatball, we just came to take the Chunin exam, and the mission didn't say we were going to do these weird things. Do you want to run away again? Ino glared at his companion angrily. You are a big sleeper besides eating. That's taboo. Shikamaru realized that Choji's expression was wrong, and quickly covered Ino's mouth. The 10th class looked at each other silently for a long time, until they couldn't see Hyde's figure. They all let out a breath. We didn't see anything. I was sleeping just now. All right, I fell asleep just now. Facing the 2 unmotivated companions, Ino's sister retreated and became an accomplice. 3 minutes and seconds, Liuman, who rushed out of anger, found them. Okay, brother, tell me where those 3 guys went. Boss, I really don't know. To be honest. What I said is the truth. Blue, 00, Juan tilted his head without blinking. Liamong scratched his head. 8,000. 10,000. Up to 8,000. 10,000. Okay, you won. Liamong ordered out 8,000 yuan and stuffed it in the past. Take your information fee and tell me where you went. North. Shikamaru nodded, tilting his head to the north. Liamong turned around and took 2 steps, suddenly turned around and asked, "Who did you learn this from?" "You, who else is there?" Shikamaru shrugged with the information fee divided into 3 for Ino and 1 for Choji. Liamong, who had a stomachache, hurried the cat's waist and ran away, and it hurt his head if he stayed. Signed the airship and were heading north. Is this the light pulse? Not far from the ruins, about 30 or 50 miles away, Hyde brought Kagashi down. The big Yuhi nose nodded his head, his eyes showing sadness. The power of the light pulse is not much left. What if you get it? I will become the king of the new world. It is easier to read on mobile phones. m.heihei168.com. Hyde opened his arms and closed his eyes in front of the monotonous Gaia decoration. Kagashi turned his head to look at Temuki helplessly. His Royal Highness, please fill that wine glass with your blood, and the power of the light veins will be activated. I won't do any tricks this time, right? Hyde was extra cautious this time after suffering a big loss last time. Kagashi's face was expressionless and cold, and for a long time, Hyde nodded. Temuki looked at Kagashi, then at Hyde, and stepped forward to start bleeding. Your Royal Highness, you have only one chance. The traces repeatedly sketched on the back of the hand by the flying apprentice came to mind, and the Gaia royal family bloodline severely cut the wrist. Fresh Yuhi's blood sprayed into the wine glass along the scratches, filling the wine glass in a short while. When the cup was completely filled with fresh Yuhi's liquid, the Gaia coat of arms on the rock wall changed, and wisps of crystal green dazzled people's eyes. Green, green like life. When these greens appear, we witness the miracle of life. Pieces of peeling rocks fell to the ground, shaking in all directions. The rocks are sliding down, the trees are growing, and the green trees are clumps, one by one, and tender kiba is exposed from the cracks in the rocks, and then thickens and changes shape at a speed visible to the naked eye. The vigorous vitality brought endless vitality. The spray Izumi, which broke out of the ground, jumped into the air, and only started to fall after more than 10 meters. The little raindrops accompanied by the crystal green sprinkled in the dim yellow, and the green grass blades were covered with yellow sand. A few pearls of white flowers stretched out their bodies in the wind, and the 2 chasing butterflies laughed and danced together. This is the power of the light pulse. Ha ha ha, I finally found it. This is the power of the light pulse. What do we see? The crowd sitting in the airship far away stood up 1, 2, 3, and 4, staring and stretching their necks, watching the upheaval in the deep valley in the distance. Green is still spreading at a speed visible to the naked eye, hundreds of meters, kilometers, 10,000 meters, it seems to spread out endlessly. When I opened my eyes, I saw heaven. Is this a miracle belonging to the world? Wrong, this is the glory of the age of Gaia. Hyde walked towards the door with the cracked coat of arms. Inside was a bright starlight, green, endless green. A drizzle fell on him, and a little bit of energy melted into his body. It's so wonderful, it's like being in a hotbed, it's like being in the sand. I am the Gaia King Hyde of the New World. The crazy roar came out along the gate of Taniguchi, and Kagashi watched coldly there. From now on, the civilization of Gaia will cease to exist, Your Royal Highness. When the eyes met, he suddenly made his move, and Temuki turned the blood-filled wine glass for a week. Everything will be the past, everything will be memories. A trace of black appeared in the misty light and rain, and the green grass gradually turned yellow. What did you do? This is the last resort of the Gaia royal family, the time wormhole seal. Hyde, you can bury your ambitions and Gaia's glory together. The light pulse should not appear in this world at all. Crazy, angry, scared. The careerist, surrounded by green fluorescent light, let out a hysterical howl. Kagashi, you damn old bastard, why are you doing this? Temuki, damn it, Damn it, why are you preventing me from becoming king? Perhaps there are really Wu Tuo gangs in the world, but if you become a king, you will definitely not bring peace to the world. The boy's eyes were very lonely, and he felt that he had been deceived all his life. You killed my relatives and gave me dreams again. Hide, go die with the lies you made up. Gaia is finished. No, you old and young lunatics, you can't do this. Stop him, I order you, stop it. A careerist who has been fooled twice in a row, and has been playing tricks and tricks all his life, was finally tricked by others. If you want people to die, they must first make people crazy. We seem to be a little late. Looking at the farce below through the airship screen, Lu Meng smacked his lips bitterly. Busy and busy will not be in vain, this time things are too disgusting. Maybe I heard Liamong's complaint, maybe God took a nap, and suddenly there was a problem with the 1,000-year-old seal. Kagashi, Temuki was terrified, and Hyde was excited. The sky will not kill me, the sky will not kill me. In the crumbling seal, the black shadow that rose from the ground smashed a large piece of rock into the sky. It had wings up to 100 meters long, sharp bone spurs, a head like a mouse, and a sharp kiba like a city gate. The final weapon of the Gaia military department, Hyde, who attracted the power of the light veins, no longer has a human form. His eyes are almost dripping with blood from Yuhi, and his furious eyes seem to be devoured by people. Submit or die, and I will be the new emperor. This stuff is crazy. Liamong pouted, with disdain in his eyes. Wong bastard. Mortal, I have mastered the power of God and become a new god, yet you still surrender to me. The two wings pushed back and forth to climb out of the rubble, and the Hyde bat turned his eyes to the sky. Go out and kill it. Gaara is always so cool, cool inside, cool outside, and cool to drive. Well, the red panda is out, can the others still be idle? He took out his ears, Liamong followed behind, stepping on the sand ball and fell straight down. The big bat in the rubble was still struggling, and the bone spurs that grew from the forehead and the spine were like telephone poles, and there was an indescribable savage color. This is a monster through and through, a monster that must be eliminated. I didn't expect things to come this far. Liamong pulled Tamari's slender hand. Po seemed to have a warlike relationship. The princess of Sunagakure village was angry. When are you still in the mood to joke? Do you know how much trouble this guy has brought to the kingdom of wind, in case it runs away? Run out and run out. Wei eats radishes and worries about it. I guess it's not a bad thing. The big name will increase your military expenses. It's not bad if he doesn't deduct military expenses. When he mentioned his name, Tamari got angry. That guy was too fucked up. He would rather spend his money for enjoyment than increase funds for Hidden Village. Liamong shrugged and turned his attention to the big bat. Think about it, mortals, give your allegiance to me, and I will assign you official positions. In the future, you will be nobles in the new world, you can enjoy superior treatment, you can marry many beautiful women, and you can have endless wealth. You are telling the truth. Liamong ran to the front of the battle, and pointed his toes in anticipation. The big bat nodded his head. As long as you are loyal to me, I will take you to conquer the whole world. Think about it, you will have powers that you have never had before, and enjoy endless glory. This one seems to be powerful. So what, Gaara, shall we swear allegiance to it? Have you made enough trouble? Tamari took off the Samsung fan in embarrassment, giving him a headache for this unremarkable husband-kun. Liamong turned back and smiled helplessly. I'm sorry, my wife doesn't agree. Are you kidding me? Yuhi, the big bat angrily, glanced. Liamong chuckled. You just know. I must eat you, Depend on. Why don't you eat shit? Brothers, let's beat him and start the boss. In the third chapter today, Union is still trying to break through. It is very difficult, but Union will not give up. Brothers and sisters, cheer for me. Text chapter 157 _ all things are not success or failure, turn around empty. If Hyde could fly, if Hyde could move, things would be 11,000 times more troublesome. But now this little tofu seller is not only trapped in the mountain, but it is extremely difficult to even move. What are you waiting for? Fuck it. Hearing Liamong shouting, Konkuro turned his face away. It wasn't that he didn't want to go, it was really a restriction of the puppet master. In the face of such a huge monster as Hyde, the puppet doll really became a doll. Do you need someone else to do it? The ninjas of Sunagakure village all looked at Gaara, and the Liuman who threw a brick for a long time also turned his head. Shrug your shoulders and it's over to you. Quicksand burial. The dark panda eyes stared straight ahead, and with Gaara's unwavering voice, the rock under Hyde turned into yellow sand. It has a very nice and vivid name, quicksand. The big Uzumaki, the big Uzumaki, almost invading the chakra energy of the whole body, burying the enemy 200 meters deep underground. This kind of terrifying and pervert trick is definitely the only magic weapon for destroying the corpse and destroying the traces. This is the end. Kagashi, Tiamuki, one old and one small, two men stared blankly at the yellow sand in front of them. The wind blew, and their hair flew into tears. Maybe add some insurance. Sandstorm burial. Putting all the last bit of chakra on the body with both hands and hitting the ground. After the 3 shocks, the ground burst into several streaks of blood. Izumi, the purple-black blood sprinkled on the emerald-green crystal, a kind of desolate beauty. Now you can tell us what good things are in the Gaia Empire. Damn it, don't tell me no, or you'll be dead. After dealing with Hyde, Liamong grabbed Kagashi into the air and threatened him without being polite at all. The poor old man had a big Yuhi nose, his 2 old legs were constantly swaying, and his wrinkled old face turned white at a speed visible to the naked eye. If you don't let him go, he will die. Cough cough. Throwing the old thing to the ground, Lu Meng raised his arm and adjusted his collar. Tell me, don't let your life go for nothing. You robber, you are worse than Hyde. Aha, thank you for your compliment. Liamong lowered his head and stared at Hyde viciously. Originally, I just wanted to play casually, but I didn't want to almost play myself in it. If I don't get it back, I will not be able to live up to the resentment in my chest. It is clear to you that your information is too ill-informed. Heihei168.com. I don't want to listen to any more nonsense. Liamong stood in front of Kagashi, crooked his neck with a kiba sign in his mouth. Tell me the value of your continued existence, or I will nail you to the Jinchuriki column. Air dry. The young master swears to the gods in the sky that he will not let you die too happy, and the carrion vultures in the desert will swallow you little by little. No, you can't do that. Good, tell me if you don't want to die, what is left of Gaia? Babies, it seems that this old thing is not very honest. Liamong turned around, smiled at his woman, and turned to Konkuro. Dear brother-in-law, I think you must have a way to get him to speak. No, let your puppets make out with him. The crow is still the black ant, and Kagashi will do all the tricks without Konkuro's hands. Look, people still have to be forced to do that. Don't be in a hurry, he doesn't tell the truth. Gaia has nothing left. You are courting death. Wait, listen to me. Kagashi held his head with both hands and took a kick. Although Gaia has nothing left, there is still value here. These stones are treasures. Old man, do you think these stones are treasures? Lumenton went to the ground and picked up a stone, but he couldn't see anything unusual. Kagashi swallowed in fear. The light vein has been destroyed, but the power of the light vein has remained. As long as a special method is used, new power can be gathered in these stones. Although it cannot be created again. A gem like the stone of Jiru, but also makes some nice stuff. Quote. What are they for? Accelerate the growth of plants and improve their physique. Kagashi replied very smoothly, and said cleanly like a bucket. Liamong suddenly thought of the key point. What about the manufacturing method? I don't know. Depend on. I think you're indecent. Konkuro. No, I don't know, but Hyde sure knows. By your sister, Hyde is dead. Hearing Kagashi's words, Liamong wanted to kill him on the spot, but fortunately the old man added, the Book of Jiru, as long as you find the book of Jiru, there must be a way on it. Where's that book? I know, Temuki said suddenly. I can give you the book of Jiru, but you have to promise me one condition. Hey, boy, are you still qualified to negotiate terms? I just want the safety of me and my companions, and him. Temuki calmly took off his helmet, revealing a handsome, blonde-haired Yuhi's white face. The mistakes I made earlier must be made up. I hope the people of the tribe can live in peace. Quote. Gaara, Liamong called back. He can get what he wants. The book of Jiru is in the battleship. I can take you to get it. Temuki said it without hiding anything. Very smart, not stupid at all. Liamong pouted and followed into the battleship. Temkin didn't take the book directly, but let out his companions, who were children in jars. Old man, how about working with me? You kill me. What Kagazi wants to do most now is to stay away from Liamong. The bastard shook his head, snorted and turned to leave. The book of Jiru was obtained very smoothly, and many things beyond imagination were recorded on it. But these are all rubbish, because they can't understand, even if they are translated, they can't be copied. The inheritance of the Gaia Empire is ruined, and the end of the light pulse means that everything has no foundation. After figuring out this matter, Liamong lost his mind, and couldn't stop sighing during dinner at night. I have to be careful in the future, I can't do anything by myself. Are you afraid? I'm really scared. In front of his own woman, Lu Meng never concealed his guilty conscience. Anko unexpectedly did not despise. The gray-brown pupils were glowing and moist. The flowing man shrank back. Stinky boy, why did you throw us out first? Tell me the truth. Anko straightened his droopy face, and the little secretary's eyes lit up with waves. The gangster who couldn't escape smiled open-mindedly. Why, you are my women. That's it. That's it. Liamong said very plainly. The two girls all cried, and Tamari looked very uncomfortable from the side. If you were in there. A hurried meal, Anko threw a coquettish wink and pulled Hinata to the bathroom. The cool mountain Izumi water slid across the skin, and the two girls washed them very carefully. Slim jade arms, straight thighs, towering breasts, moist valleys. From top to bottom, from front to back, even the two little feet were repeatedly rubbed several times. Today, Anko Hinata was very slow to wash, and the Liumans waited for them to fall asleep before they came. It was a pair of ice crystal water slippery jade bodies, a pair of stunners bestowed on the world by God. Hinata's arrogance is small, Anko's exquisiteness is sticking to his side one after another, and the two bulging dots on his chest are printed on the front and back, trembling slightly with his breathing. There is an indescribable embroidery confusion. Liamong was going crazy. He lowered his head and pouted the little secretary's lips, the cold softness with a little fragrance, and the small fragrance tongue that was sucked into his mouth kept dodging. Hinata grabbed the sheet shyly, and Anko, who saw the movement of the two, smirked, and reached out and took a handful. The fire ignited in an instant. Brother. Hinata, I love you. He spit out 3 words staring at each other. Lu Meng rarely said this in the past, but today he is really scared. I bumped into the Jedi inexplicably, and now I feel chills thinking about it. What if I couldn't rush out at that time? What if Tamari was late at that time? We will go back to the snow country tomorrow. Liuman hugged Hinata tightly, as if to rub the whole body of the little secretary into his body. Anko was close behind him, and an arm stretched out from across the sheet. Tamari smiled softly. 3 people, you have me, I have you. This is a lingering night, but also a warm night. Brother, don't go there, it won't work there. Stinky boy. The legs that were high on the shoulders collapsed straight, and the splendid laughter spread far and wide. Hinata was so ashamed that he couldn't find a crack in the ground to get in. At dawn the next day, I waved goodbye to the reluctant red panda, and the airship that took off in the sky sailed back to the country of snow. Shirakumo rolled high in the sky, the sun shot through the clouds, and Madara, the light drawn into a line, shed warmth on the world. The rumbling propeller cuts through the airflow and slowly decelerates, and the country that has been snowing for many years is covered in silver. Seeing the shadow of the fortress, the crowd on the ground was busy like a bombing nest, sending messages and cleaning. As soon as Liamong came out of the cabin door, a panicked person ran to the front. "The boss is not good, Master Tsunade, Master Tsunade she. What happened to her? You'd better see for yourself." The waiter who reported the letter handed over a thick bill, and Lu Meng's face turned dark at that time. Union felt a little bit of eyebrows, and after a sleep, he woke up and looked at it, as if he had stepped out of a strange circle. Text Chapter 158_Industries in Taoyuan Street. 38.5 million taels. This prodigal woman went to gamble again. Boss. The attendant who reported the letter swallowed. As soon as you left, Master Tsunade got into the casino with the back. He has lost a lot recently. Where is she now? Taoyuan Street. Shikong was clearly prepared. Wiped his nose and turned his head. Hinata lowered her head. Shizune was in Sparta. Enko Tamari had nothing to do with it. Obviously she was used to it. Who will come with me? Take Hinata to play. Tamari and I are a little tired. Enko waved his hand, grabbed Tamari and left. Going to find that big cow. What a joke. Thinking about the images I encountered a few times before makes my brain hurt. Maybe we should change clothes. Looking for people. Taoyuan Street is indeed a good place. Since it can be called Taoyuan, there is a reason to be called Taoyuan. Taoyuan Street is located at the junction of the land of snow and the land of fire. It belongs to the place where the two don't care. The grandmother does not care about the uncle or love. But all this has become a thing of the past. Since a bastard set his sights on this place 3 years ago, Taoyuan District has become the most famous gold-selling cave in the land of fire and snow. Hinata, this dress is nice. The light pink wide-sleeved long skirt is tied with a light yuhi silk sash around the waist. With a small and delicate appearance, it is simple yet beautiful, and it really makes people shine. Shizune, who came out behind him, had a helpless expression on his face. We'd better hurry up, Mr. Tsunade. Get in the car, get in the car. He waved his hand and got into the cab. Liamong stepped on the accelerator to the bottom. This is a snow jeep. The whole body is hard steel with silver gray lines. There are 4 disc-shaped lights, and the 2 large exhaust pipes at the back are roaring and smoking. Obviously, this stuff is illegal in us, but now, who cares? The snow chariot driving the wind was shooting through the wind and snow. The snowflakes fluttering outside the window kept retreating, and the carriage that I encountered from time to time was so speechless. The world of Hokage is a very magical world. Cement was used to repair public toilets, and machinery was shelved. The big names are proud of wood, and few people look down on modern equipment. What caused this strange situation? After years of experience, Liamong has a little understanding that all the sources point to the ninja. Individual power limits the development of collective power. Since the daimyo have the support of a powerful hidden village, why should they spend money on researching machinery? It's no surprise that Baidu's Yi Academy has lost state aid and its industrial development has been slow. It's a world of contradictions, and it's a crazy world. Come on. Taki Shinobu, who was lying in the snow, looked at the motorcade approaching in the distance and gave instructions to his 2 companions. Enemy attack. The shrill scream accompanied by the explosion of the detonating talisman broke the snow, and the team members who were suddenly attacked roared. The killing has begun. The collision between kunai and the sword, the duel between ninjutsu and demonic illusion, the shuriken, and Senbon sang a song of joy. The guards fell to the ground one by one, and the scratches left on their necks were covered in blood. Konoha ninjas accompanying the escort were outnumbered, and they were carried to the ground in a blink of an eye. But they didn't make it easier for the attackers before they died, each dragging a pad. Slaughter and slaughter continued. Without the restraint of ninjas, where would the remaining guards be opponents? Lord Fulu. Hurry up, run fast, and be sure to send the box back. The old man who fell in a pool of blood struggled to get up, and both legs were broken. Just as the attendant took the box and was about to run, a few shuriken nailed him into a hedgehog. Why did the ninjas of Takian village attack the caravans of the daimyo prefecture? The knife-carrying driver pinged two kunai and questioned the attackers. The ninja wearing Takikaku's forehead smirked twice, and didn't mean to answer at all. It's not their character to waste words with dead people. The knife-carrying driver glanced at the old man on the ground with the corner of his eye, then glanced at the dead guard, and jumped into the air decisively. Idiot. This was the first and last sentence that Taki Shinobu said. Let's die together. You. He lowered his head in disbelief. Takigakushi didn't understand until he died why an ordinary coachman could ninjutsu. The stand-in fell in the air with 3 shuriken inserted into it, and the coachman's pale face was bloodless. Takigakushi stabbed his heart before he died. He had done his best. In the last moments of his life, the coachman saw 4 bright headlights. You stay in the car, I'll go down and have a look. Pulling the car door tightly, Liuman stepped on the creaking snow nest and walked towards the convoy. Every few steps, you could see the dead guards. All dead. Looking forward one by one, a faint cry for help came into my ears. Friend, save me, please save me, I swear to God Amaterasu, I will definitely thank you. For God's sake, Amaterasu. Still alive. Liamong hurriedly walked towards the trunk, and slowly squatted down to look at the old man with the broken leg, who was about to die. The old man saw Liamong's face clearly through Uehua, and was so excited that he almost breathed out. Amaterasu is above, it's the master of the dead wood, it's great, help me, please help me. Hurry up and inform the Daming House that someone has attacked the caravan. Quote. Are you from the land of fire? Liamong looked up and down the clothes, and figured out what the old man's name was. The old man with the broken leg nodded vigorously, and Liamong laughed, sneering. First, I don't believe in any god Amaterasu. Second, why do you recognize me? It's not good. Master Deadwood, you, the old man with the broken leg was shocked that something was wrong. Liamong lowered his body and looked at him. Tell me why they attacked the caravan. The old man with the broken leg swallowed and subconsciously glanced at the corner of the box under the dead guard. Liamong smiled happily, picked up the kunai, patted it with a handkerchief and stabbed it into the old man's chest, then threw the used silk into the fire, and sent the old man into the sea of fire together with the dead old man. Murder without arson is really unprofessional. Brother. It's nothing, a group of unlucky ghosts were attacked. Liamong put the box into the carry-on space, and swept the convoy with the accelerator. It won't be long before the traces here will be buried by the constant wind and snow all year round. At the Paradise Club on Taoyuan Street, there were 8 girls in 2 rows carrying paper umbrellas. When the locomotive stopped, they immediately welcomed 4 of them. They raised the paper umbrellas with the pictures of the maids above their heads, exposing themselves to the wind and snow. The snowflakes fell on their delicate faces, a kind of delicate beauty. Liamong smiled at them, hugged Hinata and walked to the steps, and the remaining 4 quickly opened the door with a blessing. 2 white marble statues of the Emperor and Fruit Girl are standing on the left and right, and there is a silver filthy beauty in the sanctity. As soon as he entered the door, the hall manager trotted to the front. Capable business attire, black high heels, dark clothes and light maple dust are fun. Quote. Where's the Eagle guy? Boss Eagle is negotiating with people above. The hall manager smiled lightly and turned to the side. The 3 young masters of the Kingdom of Fire like to have fun, and want to have a share in our club. Yo drink, the appetite is not small, you didn't tell him whose territory this is. Liamong was very unhappy, a kind of annoyed that the toy was robbed. The lobby manager pursed his lips and smiled, that guy's head is abnormal, maybe he was squeezed by the door. Haha, then let's go see this guy who was squeezed by the door. Armed with Hinata, he followed the lobby manager into the most luxurious luggage box on the 3rd floor. In the golden-walled private room, 2 groups of people sat opposite each other. The guy directly opposite has a moxie brain shape, 8 gold rings on 10 fingers, and a half-cut medicine country cigar in his mouth. Seeing Liamong coming in, he quickly got up and saluted. Hello, boss, please allow me to introduce, this is the famous third son of the country of fire. Are you a rotten tree? The bamboo pole, which could be blown over by the wind, turned his head without raising his butt, and when he saw Hinata, his eyes protruded. Liamong's face sank immediately. Eagle, don't put all cats and dogs in the house in the future. Waste air in life, waste land in death. What do you mean? Literally. He switched Hinata from left to right as if he was protecting a calf, and told the eagle, tell 2 people to throw him out. You dare. What am I afraid of? The corners of his eyes squinted at the 2 attendants who wanted to do something, and the flamboyant murderous mist slammed into him like a tsunami. Deedy cold sweat slid from the corners of his eyes, and the 2 helpers brought by the daimyo did not dare to move, and let the men called by the eagle throw them out of the clubhouse. You are all rubbish. Young master. He lowered his head nervously and dared not tell the difference. The guards assigned by the big name were full of bitterness, but they were still more bitter. I don't care what method you use, I have to snatch that girl over for me, and just wear it. The pink one. 3 sons. I don't want to say it a second time. With a cold snort, he picked up the folding fan that fell, and the third son finally glanced at the Heaven Club and turned away. Boss, do you want it? The eagle standing at the window made a downward gesture. Liamong shook his head. A dog bites a person, and a person can't bite back. I'll pay for it when I turn around. Don't I need money for opening the box? Jinshan is also saved bit by bit. Now do 2 things for me. The clouds seem to find some feeling. Brothers and sisters, cheer up together, a better tomorrow is waiting for us. Text chapter 159_impulsively agreed request. Boss, Tsunade-sama is shaking dice at club number 5. Heihei168.com. In addition, the box you brought has been properly disposed of, to ensure that no one in the world will find it again. The contents inside are worth 100 million, and it can be changed to Kabuto within half a year. Sold. But there's something. What else is in there? Royal seal. The eagle raised his head cautiously. Liamong was stunned, and then burst into laughter. Lovely eagle, did you say it wrong, or is your name crazy? And he actually took out the royal seal. I'm sorry boss, I didn't explain it clearly. It's not the public seal used for writing the credential, but a private seal. Oh, that's how it is. Liamong nodded, so it was not surprising. The private seal and the public seal are different. The public seal represents the country, and the private seal represents the individual. Although many times, the name of the country of fire represents the country of fire, but there are also many times when they cannot be confused. The private seal of the big name of the country of fire, if you make good use of this thing. Well, let's go find the fat sheep first. Chizune and Hinata, who came out of the secret door and called for the top grade tea, walked towards the number 5 clubhouse under the guidance of the servants. Taoyuan Street is full of peach blossoms. When the wind blows, the fallen flowers fly all over the sky. The pale pink petals float on the head, swaying and adding beauty. Walking on such a road, the little secretary will wander like a walk in the forest. Fairy. The fairy bowed her head shyly, letting Liamong hold her hand, and there were 2 dogs sent by the big name in the distance. It's not that our army doesn't work hard, but the enemy army has Gundam. The third son and the 2 guards looked at each other, but they didn't intend to do anything. What a joke, they are not fools. If you really want to anger that one, the big name can rip them off. But what about the third son? Shall we run away? Thinking about the ways that third young master used to treat people in the past, the 2 guys both gave birth to the meaning of running away. If the task cannot be completed, it will definitely not fall well, and if it is completed, it will not fall well. Since you can't do it left or right, you might as well run away. Yes, go right away. The corner of his eyes turned back a little, and the corner of Liamong's mouth raised a sneer. Brother. It's nothing, 2 things that can't be on the table. Let's hurry to find that fat sheep, and we won't know how much we will lose if it's too late. Buy and leave, 1, 2, 3, 6 o'clock. Boom. Hateful, how is it so small? He pressed 5 hands in a row, each time he turned it small, and slapped Tsunade's forehead on the table full of hashtags. The gamblers who gambled with her laughed, and their eyes were wild. This is the legendary fat sheep. If she wants to be big, they will be small. If she wants to be small, they will be big. Looking at the few chips left on the table, Tsunade shoved them out. This time I'll buy a small one. Then let's buy big. Originally wanting to put a small chip, Hulala turned to the other side, and the dealer who was shaking the dice burst into tears. The script shouldn't be played like this. If it goes on like this, he must not let the casino accompany him to death. Can he have a look back? But luckily, this is the last time. The dice and cups stopped, and the young dealer wiped cold sweat and slowly revealed the points. Tsunade was furious at the time. 4, 4, 5, 6, 15. Asshole. Boom. His fist hit the table and his pretty face turned purple. Tsunade turned his head sharply. Scented scales, get another 5 million. Lord Tsunade, we're out of money. What? How can we have no money? Didn't we just borrow 50 million yesterday? Xianglin weakly hugged the dolphin, and the little Shangzu covered her eyes in fear. It's true that you borrowed 50 million yesterday, but you lost 35 million yesterday afternoon, and another 10 million this morning, plus the 5 million just now. We are really out of money. Asshole. Fists frantically, he looked left and right. Tsunade's forehead was spitting out white smoke, and the horrified gamblers ran all the way. Master Tsunade. Shizune. Beautiful big eyes lit up and rushed to the door. Tsunade took Shizune in his arms. If you have money, let me read the book first, and I will pay you back 3 times. Master Tsunade. Shizune pushed hard with sweat on his forehead, and glanced sideways at Liumin who followed. The bastard's face was black. Sister Tsunade, can you tell me what happened to that bill? What? Don't worry about it. I will win it back. Trust me, stinky boy, I will definitely win it back. Tsunade rubbed his hands brightly, and suddenly pressed Yuhi's lips over his pretty face. How about borrowing me 50 million to turn over the book, and half points after winning? Quote. What if you lose? How can I lose? Will my Senju Tsunade lose? I will definitely win. Will you still win? He covered his forehead with black lines all over his face. If Liumin believed this nonsense, he would be the biggest fool in the world. Hurry back with me. If you don't go back, I'm going to turn over the book. Are you going back? Not back. Then stay here by yourself. Shizune, Hinata, Xianglin, come back to dinner with me. Hey, you can't do this. First lend me 5 million. 5 million will do, and I will pay you back if I turn over the book. Stinky boy, don't go. Casino reluctantly, Tsunade, who had no money in Kabuto, followed behind him dejectedly. Stinky boy, can you die if you lend me some money? If you can die, you will be mad. Liamong tilted his head angrily, and was about to evolve into a fire-breathing dragon. Sister Tsunade, it's not me who told you. Others can't win out at 10 bets, no matter how they can win once, but you will, 800 times a year. Is there a time to win? Stinky boy, what the hell are you talking about? I also won money, Shizune, Xianglin, don't you think? By 2 feet's complexion was distorted. Shizune and Xianglin all lowered their heads. What do you mean by that? Come on, my good sister, it's better when you don't win money. The more you win, the more unfortunate you will be. You're pulling your fingers, and when you win money, something good happens. Lu Meng said, he slapped. Last time you won money, but you hit your car when you went out. Last time you won money, the aisle was chased by a dog, and last time you went out. Stinky boy, you have a lot to finish, don't you just lose 2 money, it hurts you. Sister Tsunade, no matter how small a mosquito's leg is, it's still meat. If you buy anything, it doesn't matter, but when you go to a casino, it's like giving money away. How much is enough for you to lose? If it goes on like this, I'm really worried about the day. You lose yourself on impulse, and then I won't redeem you. Is the old lady that stupid? Hearing Liamong say this, Tsunadihime raised his fist in anger. The bastard's mouth curled almost to the back of his ears. Shizune, Xianglin, do you think I would be so stupid? This. You are not stupid. I am afraid you are crazy. Asshole. Xianglin, what are you talking about? Bright Yuhi-colored hair was pouting like a fringe, and Uzumaki Xianglin hurried to take refuge behind Shizune, thinking that this place is not safe, and then changed to the back of Liamong, holding Hinata and shivering. Okay, Miss Tsunade, if you really want to play, I'll open a casino for you and let you play as you like all day long. Really? Senjutsunade's eyes lit up. Liamong wanted to slap himself at that time, but he had no choice but to say it out. He could only bite the bullet and nodded. Of course it's true. When did I lie to you? When will it open? Next month. What's the date today? Tsunade asked Shizune back. Number 5. Quote. No, it's too late. Tsunade thought it was too long. Bad boy, 2 weeks. 2 weeks I'm going to see my casino open. Okay, you said it's just 2 weeks. Liamong quickly agreed when he saw sweat on his forehead, for fear of being strangled to death if he didn't agree. It turned out to be good, not strangled to death, but almost suffocated to death. Ha ha ha, you're so kind. Come on, give me a kiss. With his hands on his forehead, Tsunade pressed him tightly to his chest and turned around frantically for several times. Wu-Wu's struggling nostrils were full of, and the whole person fell into a soft ocean. Lord Tsunade, he's going to die. What? Stinky boy, what's the matter with you? He lifted the person from his chest and shook it in front of his eyes. Tsunade bit his fist. Hey, stinky boy, you can't die. Who will let me go if you die? Casino. Hey, wake up, stop pretending, wake up. If you can't wake up, wake me up quickly. Hey, hurry up. Angrily, he grabbed the collar and swayed it around. The Liuman who coughed and coughed quickly grabbed his arm. My good sister, if you don't let me go, I will die. Ha, I knew you had a big life. How could you die without help and no reason? Don't forget my casino, you promised me. Wait, Miss Tsunade, when did I promise to open a casino for you? Just now. Did I say that just now? Yes, Tsunade answered affirmatively. Looming Mengden scratched his head. How do I remember? I mean I opened a casino and let you play. The casino is mine, okay? No, the casino is mine. Tsunade waved his fist with a pretty face. Liamong remained unmoved. Mine. Mine. I said it was mine. It must be mine. Forehead to forehead, went all the way back to the Tianchong Club with Tsunade's Liamong. As soon as he entered the door, Ego gave him a very unexpected news. The chapter on union was written very smoothly. Brothers and sisters, please bless union. Let's keep going like this. Text chapter 160 It is still true that the 3 young masters come to imitate the acting skills. Boss, the third son is visiting. Hey168.com. Which third son? Liamong handed the coat to Hinata and tilted his head in confusion. Eagle said strangely, it's the one you threw out earlier. Lu Meng opened his mouth in amazement, raised his hand and wiped his nose. Looks like this kid hasn't given up yet. Hinata has a lot of charm. Brother. It doesn't matter, my brother is very proud that his wife is liked. Liamong hugged the little secretary hard. Let's go and see what the hell this birdman is up to. If he hums. A neatly groomed formal suit stood in the center of the private room that had been thrown out earlier. The third son was holding a flaming rose in his arms, and the flaming petals of Yuhi were still full of dewdrops. Hinata entered the door. Yuhi's face was revealed at once, and Liamong repeatedly comforted her before she walked over shyly and anxiously, took the bouquet quickly, almost grabbed the bouquet, and then stuffed it like charcoal to the fragrance scales who came to watch the show. Uzumaki Xianglin was stunned for a while, looked at the bouquet in his hand, and then looked at the third son who fell down when the wind blew, and shoved it to Shizune. Shizune wasn't interested in flowers, but couldn't find someone to send them, so he gave them to Tsunade. Tsunade-sama, this flower. Flower, spend a hair. Tsunade-hime, who was closest to the window, turned back and pushed the window, then raised his hand and threw the bouquet he took. 99 flaming roses, scattered like rain. The third son stood awkwardly on the spot, dumbfounded and didn't know what to say. Liamong smiled and pointed to the side, and the two parties sat down. Third son, right, I don't know what you want to do here so late. Lu Meng asked in a casual tone, but his eyes were extremely cold. If this grandson really came for Hinata, then he wouldn't have to go back tonight. Third young master looked uneasy and dodged twice. Master Kuchiki, where are your other two wives? Why isn't Princess Tamari here? Drink, are you so obsessed with my wife? Liamong stretched out his arms and embraced Hinata, as if declaring his sovereignty. He hugged him into his arms. Third young master panicked. Don't get me wrong, please don't get me wrong, that's not what I meant. Then what do you mean? Liamong glanced out the window, but there was not a single flower in the empty space. Master Deadwood. The third son hurriedly organized the language. Those are all unavoidable ways. I swear in the name of my dead mother, I have absolutely no intentions against your wife. Then you were earlier. Liamong glanced out the window again. Mobile reading is more convenient. m.heihei168.com. That's all to take away the people who are monitoring me. Third young master's words went a lot better, and Po Yufu looked like a broken jar. You are not trusted. Liamong seemed to have the ability to penetrate the world by nature. As the son of a daimyo in the country of fire, he doesn't live in the Daming Mansion. Very bad. 3. It means you have two older brothers on top of you. It seems that you are often relieved. So, you are trying so hard to get close to me. Do you want to get help? I won't lie to you. The third son's bamboo-like body suddenly lost his strength. Don't look at me as the son of a famous name, but I don't have the right to inherit at all. Even if the first two bastards die, I have no upper position. Possibly. The old man is still alive, and one day he will die, and my death will come. So, your situation in Daming Mansion is worse than I thought. Liamong tilted his head and supported his cheeks with his hands. But why are you looking for me? Give me a reason. Master Deadwood. Third young master took a deep breath, with unforgettable hatred in his eyes. I am a child not recognized by the royal family. I am the illegitimate child of that old thing. Ha ha ha, my mother is just a humble lantern maid. That is, there is no noble blood, nor a prominent family. In order to take care of me when I grew up, she suffered countless hardships, suffered countless sins, and finally died of anger. Yuhi, who was almost roaring, looked at it. Liamong suddenly felt sympathy for this aristocratic son who was beautiful in front of him and bitter in the back, patted Hinata on the back, motioned her to sit aside, and sat upright to show respect. The third son clenched his hands into fists, and Kiva Silver bit out bloodshots. Do you know what my two nominal brothers said on my 10th birthday? They smashed the dining table in front of my mother, pointed at my nose and told me that if the old man drank a little more that day, I would have to be shot into the pool to feed goldfish instead of being born by this lowly woman. Quote. My mother's status is not high, and I can't tolerate them being bullied like this. The next day I was hung up. The third son bit Kiva, and a little blood spilled from the corner of his lips. I have never lived since then. It's only my mother's birthday, and one day I'm going to cut off the heads of those two guys with my own hands. Master Deadwood, please help me. Why? Liamong crossed his hands unmoved. Why choose me? Give me a reason. You are very powerful. The third son leaned forward frantically. I have investigated your past in detail, and your life in Konoha was not good. But you are very smart, and your brain is very good, and in the end, not only did you take revenge for the guys who embarrassed you and get who you are today. First of all, you are very powerful. Secondly, your master has a number of magical abilities and possesses infinite wealth. Finally, you have a wide range of contacts. Not only do you have a high status in the snow country, but you also have a Princess Sunagaker as your wife. If I get your help, I will definitely succeed. So, what benefit can I get? Liamong retracted his hands and slumped into the chair. Third young master swallowed his saliva. I don't have the right to promise you right now. If I can successfully become the daimyo of the country of fire, I will fully support you and we can become brothers. This is not for you. Trouble, just help my master with a little power, and then say a few words at a critical time. The third son bit his lip expectantly, and a trace of pity flashed in his flowing eyes. This is another unlucky person who was stabbed by a wealthy family. The words are light, and you only need to say a few words to help, but in fact, there are countless blood and blood rains inside, one bad as the end of the dead. Liamong didn't want to go into the muddy waters. Who the name of the country of fire was had nothing to do with him. As long as alchemy is in hand, those guys won't slap him. If so, why do thankless things? Don't do things that don't help. Third young master panicked with despair, and when Lu Meng's expression was found to be wrong, it seemed that the whole world was darkened. Master Kuchiki, I'm taking my leave. Staggering up and caressing the back chair, the stumbled third young master walked towards the door. The room was very quiet, and the still needles could be heard falling. Tsunade, Shizune, Hinata, Xianglin, are all looking at the livid. Just as the door rang, Liamong made a sound. Not out of pity, but a kind of empathy. Once upon a time, he also had a similar situation. Hokage, the elders, the root, those guys are playing his ideas all the time, and it's a little bit less, that's the end of the world. The third son is almost the same as he was back then, 2 brothers, 1 father, hee. Thinking of this, Liamong sighed. I can help you. I hope you won't forget what you said today after you succeed. Master Deadwood. Don't be excited, in the future, Mr. Daming, you have to take good care of your body. Liamong smiled and got up, pulled the third son back to his seat, and patted his shoulders twice. The third son raised his head very excitedly. Master Deadwood, what do I need to do now? Calm down, future big name. Liamong walked back to his original position with a smile. Before I ask this question, I need to ask you a few questions. Are you rich? Yes, but not many. Third young master was very cramped. Is there 100 million? Liamong casually lifted the teapot and poured himself a glass of water. Third young master vomited blood. I'm sorry, Master Deadwood, this. I don't have 100 million, so 50 million, 50 million. Neither this nor this. Then how many do you have? Lu Meng said in surprise, as if he didn't quite believe it. Third young master Yuhi grimaced and vomited in a low voice. How much did you say? 5 million. No, 500,000. I rely on. Liamong opened his mouth in astonishment, suddenly realizing that his choice was a mistake. I said third young master, do you plan to use 500,000 as your name? Lu Meng was speechless. 500,000 is not enough to invite someone to assassinate him. Forget it, go back, I can't see your sincerity. A person who wants to be a big name can only come up with 500,000 yuan. What is this? Is it a child playing a house? Master Deadwood. The third young master stood up with great excitement. His eyes were turning green. 500,000 is a small amount, but I have saved 500,000 for 15 years. I beg you, I know that money is for you, it's not a problem. Quote. Ah, you saved 500,000 in 15 years. Kiba with shame and anger. My monthly money is very small, and I am often exploited by those 2 guys. If I can have this money, I can save it for food inspection. Pulling off the shiny coat outside, Sangongzi's clothes were actually patched. This is really a famous son, not a beggar from some family. Liamong didn't believe it anymore. His eyes were filled with deep suspicion. There is another chapter. The cloud will work hard. Brothers and sisters, please do more.